Midday, I'm Maria Shilaos. KSL's top story. Salt Lake City School District has said that they are considering raising the price of school lunch. KSL News Radio's Cameron Elliott has the story.
Soaring food prices and the cost of labor has forced the Salt Lake City School Board to consider raising the price of lunches by between 50 cents and $1.50 to make up for the deficit.
The child nutrition program is we're spending more money than we're bringing in. And up through last year, there was sufficient fund balance to cover those over expenditures. That situation is now gone.
The situation won't change for schools or children who receive free lunch, but things like extra servings and snacks would be impacted. The last time the school board raised lunch prices was back in 2012. Cameron Elliott, KSL News Radio.
Meantime, a new report is highlighting some challenges schools in northwest Salt Lake County are facing. Analysts say they are dealing with noticeably low test scores, graduation rates, and high rates of chronic absenteeism. KSL News Radio's Adam Small joins me live with details. Adam?
Maria, the report from the Kempsey Gardner Policy Institute shows graduation rates in communities like West Valley, Kearns, Taylorsville, Magna, and the west side of Salt Lake City are almost 10% lower than the rest of the state. And they see their overall enrollment drop by more than 11% in the last 8 years. Andrea Branley is the senior education analyst of the Kempsey Gardner Policy Institute. She tells me one thing that sticks out to her in their findings is how diverse this area is.
Diversity in and of itself is not a challenge. That's like a wonderful thing, right? To have people from lots of different places who can bring their own perspectives and help contribute to the vibrancy of schools and communities. I think what becomes challenging is making sure that you have the supports needed to support such a diverse group of students where their needs might differ more.
She says those needs can include higher rates of kids who need help learning English as a second language. Plus, she says more than half the kids in this area are economically disadvantaged, which can also affect their educational outcomes. She says she hopes their report can promote some awareness and encourage people to come together to solve their unique challenges. Reporting live, Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
Utah Valley University says it will not have a commencement speaker this year following controversy surrounding its original pick. Several members of Utah's delegation spoke out against author Sharon McMahon over posts that she made following Charlie Kirk's death. They say she meant to tarnish his name, but she says that even though they may have disagreed, his death was a tragedy. University now says that there will be no speaker because of concerns over her safety. KSL's top national stories. President Trump says Israel and Lebanon have agreed to a 10-day ceasefire. ABC News foreign correspondent Marcus Moore has more from Beirut.
We've just seen a statement from Lebanon's prime minister welcoming the announcement from President Trump saying that there will be a ceasefire that goes into effect at 5 o'clock Eastern, which would be midnight here in Beirut. And so this word just getting out and certainly will come as encouraging news, not only to leaders here in the region, of course, here in Lebanon, but the nearly 1.2 million people who've been forced from their homes as a result of the fighting in the south.
President Trump says the agreement followed excellent conversations with the Lebanese president and the Israeli prime minister. Grocery prices are predicted to rise as the increasing cost of oil and fertilizer from the war in the Middle East affects food production. Director of Plant Industry for the Utah Department of Agriculture and Food, Robert Hogard, says that those effects will trickle down to us in the coming months.
By the end of the year, we will see commodity prices go up, and then that obviously will then translate to inflation costs for customers.
Hogard says those price hikes should be gradual, not hitting all at once, but he wants people to be practical about it. There's no reason to stockpile groceries because our area shouldn't see food shortages. Instead, just budget and prepare for things to cost a bit more. Other national stories KSL is following. President Trump and other members of the Trump administration have been coming under scrutiny for their comments against Pope Leo in the Catholic Church this week. Vice President Vance, who is Catholic, criticized the Pope's theology, saying the Iran war could be considered just in the Church's teachings, just like it was when the U.S. liberated Europeans from the Nazis. Father Sam Sawyer is the editor-in-chief of America Media for a Catholic news outlet, and he tells ABC News the vice president's definition of a just war is inaccurate.
The war that's going on in Iran is certainly not anything like liberating France from the Nazis, right? This is a war that was started without the permission of Congress, without international support, without seeking justification from any international authority. And that's one of the things that in Catholic just war theory makes this war unjust and unjustified.
President Trump called Pope Leo weak for speaking out against the war in Iran and his mass deportation policies. Time for First Look Traffic. Good afternoon, Cormac.
Afternoon, Maria. It looks like we don't have any delays on I-15 between Santa Quin and Brigham City, but getting from Brigham City to Manaway, you're going to run into some weather causing some delays in Sardine Canyon. I'm Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL News Time, 12:05.
Pump up the volume. Business moves fast. Orders roll in, deadlines close in. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Every package stays in our secure network from dock to door. And with nationwide reach, dependable tracking, and upfront affordable pricing, you get built-in peace of mind. You run the business. We run the routes. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. You know, the big wireless companies say they have discounts for people over 55, but unless you're willing to sit on hold and ask, you're probably paying more than you should. At Consumer Cellular, there's nothing to hunt down. We're built for people 50 plus with plans starting at just $20. And our 100% US-based customer service actually answers the phone. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today and get your second month free for a limited time.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
We finally realized something.
We wanted more time for family, faith, and service.
And less time giving every Saturday to the house.
At Ovation Homes, active adults 55 plus can enjoy beautifully designed, low-maintenance homes and a welcoming community built for this season of life.
More peace, less upkeep.
And more time for what matters most.
Learn more about Ovation Homes' newest communities in West Point, Syracuse, and Layton. Visit ovationhomes.com. That's ovationhomes.com. Your best years start at Ovation Homes.
Let's be responsible.
Yeah, absolutely.
That counts.
Safe, secure, and built for comfort. With locations in Syracuse, West Point, and Layton. Downsize without compromise. With a home that truly fits your lifestyle. To learn more and see all the amenities, visit ovationhomesutah.com. That's ovationhomesutah.com. Your best years start at Ovation Homes.
As the #1 small business lender, Zions Bank helps entrepreneurs reach and exceed their goals. Visit your local branch or zionsbank.com/SBA. Equal housing lender.
Thank you for joining us for Midday. Recapping our top story, the Salt Lake City School District says the price of lunches may rise as they struggle to meet the rising cost of food and labor. KSL News Time 12:08. Applications are open right now for the Utah Fits All Scholarship. And for new applicants, there's only 2 weeks left to apply. KSL News Radio's Heather Peterson is live to explain. Heather?
So far, estimates show that about 20,000 students, Maria, have already applied for the state school voucher program. Utah Fits All offers $4,000 to $8,000 for K through 12 students to go to private schools or homeschool. Utah Education Fits All Executive Director Robin Bagley says because of changes from the legislature in the last 2 years, there are more scholarship dollars rolling in this year.
So that means we have 20 million new dollars coming into the program. That should equate to somewhere around 5,000 new students. We're estimating about 20,000 students will have this scholarship for the upcoming school year.
So she suspects there will still be a waiting list. The window to apply closes on May 1st for new applicants and May 31st for returning students. Reporting live, Heather Peterson, KSL News Radio.
54 Utah prison inmates earned college certificates this week through Ensign College. Director of the Prison Education Program, Megan Rice, tells Inside Sources their program is different from other ones in the state.
One of our strategic initiatives is to serve those who are underserved on the Wasatch Front. That's one of our strategic priorities as a campus, and they're right in our backyard. President Cush had a vision many years ago with President Don Clark, who is the ecclesiastical leader over the Utah Department of Corrections, to bring in a program to serve these inmates. And there are already really great education programs out there. We hope to be a value add and operate a little bit differently than they do, but also connect students to a higher power.
She says they have the students attend worship service and an institute class, earning them extra productive time. For years, Utah's top law schools have been closely matched. New U.S. News rankings are starting to separate them. The list shows BYU landing in the top 25 law schools in the country, while the University of Utah is holding a spot in the top 50. BYU's J. Reuben Clark School at number 24, with the U's S.J. Quinney College of Law at number 44. Both schools continue to rank highly for things like job placement and bar passage. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by UCCU. Earn 4.24% on savings at uccu.com. Let's check now with Cormac Bone. What's happening on the roads, Cormac?
Well, right now we actually have some weather conditions giving you some grief, especially in Box Elder and Weber counties. Especially in Sardine Canyon right now, getting from Brigham City over to Manaway. We've got some heavy, looking at a live shot, it's some low visibility, rainy, wintry conditions causing that usual eastbound delay on Highway 89 getting to Manaway. And we're also seeing a live shot here at the mouth of Weber Canyon where there's some snowy, rainy conditions as well. So expect the delays that are on Highway 89 between Harrison Boulevard and the mouth of Weber Canyon to be a little bit heavier. I'm Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
Look for daytime highs to top out in the morning, likely in the mid-50s. As the front moves through midday and early afternoon, we'll drop off into the 40s and 30s with a quick punch of rain switching to snow. Tomorrow morning, chance for snow showers, then it's partly cloudy with a high of 48. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And those clouds have moved in, pretty blustery in downtown Salt Lake City, only 48 degrees. Coming up on Midday, we'll hear about the importance of earthquake preparedness following the great shakeout this morning. That's coming up, streaming live at kslnewsradio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio. We are Utah's news, traffic, and weather station. We are getting closer to summer every day, and if you've been thinking that you would like to take off those extra pounds, but you've been just so frustrated with trying to lose the weight, or you've been frustrated that you've lost the weight before and just gained it right back. So I want to tell you about Salt Lake City Fat Loss. I have lost more than 40 pounds with this great program. It's all natural. Not only that, it's doctor developed, and it's developed in a way that helps you keep the weight off. They are educating you on ways to eat good, wholesome food, just regular food that you buy from the grocery store, so that you can keep that weight off long term. And since it is all natural and there are no injections or medications, and you don't have to buy extra things like meals or breakfast bars, it's also less expensive. You don't have to pay for a nutritionist either. They do have a great app. It keeps you accountable. It gives you the resources you need to keep that weight off, and great recipes so that you don't get bored with the food that you are eating. And you can ask a question at any time on their app. I've lost more than 40 pounds. Many of their clients lose up to a pound per day. Learn more at slcfatloss.com. That's slcfatloss.com, slcfatloss.com.
Most financial advisors only manage your money. They refer you out for taxes. They refer you out for estate planning. They refer you out when things get complicated. Did they really vet that person? Or did they meet once, exchange business cards, and call it a partnership? A referral isn't accountability. It's a handoff. When your investments, taxes, and estate plan are built separately, gaps happen, and those can cost money. At Trajan, we didn't build a referral network. We built a family office for all. Wealth, tax, estate. One team delivering coordinated planning, once reserved for the ultra-wealthy. If you want real coordination and not just introductions, call Trajan Wealth today. Call Trajan today at 801-207-9900. That's 801-207-9900. 801-207-9900. That's 801-207-9900.
Advisory services through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. Other services through Trajan Estate and Trajan Tax. Additional disclosures at TrajanWealth.com.
This Mother's Day, give her more than just a gift. Give her comfort that she'll feel every single day. From Minky Couture, the blankets moms everywhere are obsessed with. Discover all new arrivals just in time for Mother's Day. We're talking brand new spring colors, fresh floral-inspired designs, and Minky's softest, coziest fabrics yet. Whether she loves something light and airy or plush and luxurious, there's a Minky made just for her. Perfect for relaxing, recharging, and wrapping yourself in some well-deserved me time. And for a limited time, enjoy special Mother's Day deals in-store and online. Plus, KSL will be live at the Layton location this Friday from 10 to 1 for the movie show. Stop by, shop Minky for Mom or yourself, and use code MOVIE50 at checkout for 50% off any regularly priced blanket. Again, that's promo code MOVIE50 online at MinkyCouture.com or at a store location near you. Because she's given you everything. This year, give her something she'll truly feel. Minky Couture, made for moments that matter.
KSL News Time 12:15. The 3 things you need to know this hour. First,
applications are open for the Utah Fits All Scholarship. Experts believe it'll provide state dollars for about 20,000 students this year who might want to go to private or home schools. I'm KSL News Radio's Heather Peterson.
And second, President Trump says Israel and Lebanon have agreed to a 10-day ceasefire after talks at the White House. Third, traffic and weather together. Cormac?
No delays on I-15 between Ogden and Provo, but we do have some wintry conditions starting up, especially at the mouth of Weber Canyon and through Sardine Canyon. I'm Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
Cold front expected today with a quick punch of rain and snow. I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now, mostly cloudy, 48 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Time now for KSL's top national stories.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. A ceasefire set to start in Lebanon 3 hours from now after President Trump announced leaders from Israel and Lebanon agreed to the temporary truce. But more negotiations are needed for lasting peace, the president says, after Israel's been carrying out strikes targeting Iran-backed Hezbollah. It comes as the U.S. and Iran are trying to kickstart a second round of talks to end the war. The Strait of Hormuz remains a major issue, with key oil shipments disrupted now for 7 weeks. Iran calling the U.S. blockade on Iranian oil tankers a prelude to a ceasefire violation. ABC's Ian Pannell says the U.S. says it's now targeting Iranian ships beyond the strait.
The U.S. Navy warning ships they will use force.
If you do not comply with this blockade, we will use force. The whole of the United States Navy is ready to force compliance.
Now, the U.S. is saying they'll punish other countries who purchase Iranian oil, comparing economic sanctions to U.S. military strikes. But so far, Iran isn't backing down and threatening to retaliate by halting all trade in the region, calling the blockade a, quote, prelude to a violation of the ceasefire.
President Trump traveling to Nevada today. He's expected to speak at an event touting his tax cuts. In Minnesota, Hennepin County Attorney Mary Moriarty announced charges against an ICE agent working in the Minneapolis area during the immigration surge in February. He's identified as Gregory Morgan Jr. Moriarty alleges the ICE agent pointed a gun while driving at 2 people in a passing car on a highway.
Mr. Morgan then visibly slowed his vehicle to match the pace of the victim's vehicle, opened his window, and pointed his duty weapon directly at both victims in the other vehicle while continuing to drive illegally on the shoulder.
For the 3rd straight day, residents in the Midwest and Plains hit with severe storms, including hail and tornadoes. You're listening to ABC News.
Time for the KSL In-Depth. Thousands of Utahns took part in an earthquake drill this morning. The Great Utah Shakeout aims to help people all over the state understand what you need to do if the shaking starts. Genevieve Keeves with Be Ready Utah joins me now live. Genevieve, thanks so much for being with me.
Of course. Thank you for having me on.
Let's remind folks, what do we do if the earth starts to shake?
Yeah, so if the earth starts to shake, we want to first drop, cover, and hold on. So that means where you are or somewhere nearby, drop to the ground, keep low, cover your head and neck, or get under a piece of furniture and hold on until the shaking stops.
We have been trying to get this message out time after time when we have these days that we're remembering earthquakes. And I remember even in the earthquake that we experienced during the pandemic that's not how I reacted. I was in my bathroom putting on my mascara, and that's not what I did. And so what do you think it takes to really, hit this message home?
Yeah, so that really is the main point of this drill, is that practice makes perfect, right? So we need to practice this, and honestly, we should practice this more than once a year. Drop, cover, and hold on. And we can practice this at home with our families as well until it becomes muscle memory. And when an earthquake does happen, we know what to do.
What other kinds of things can we do or should we do to make sure that we are prepared when an earthquake does strike?
Yeah, so it's very important to be prepared for the disaster. We don't want to be reacting during the disaster. So that includes things like making a plan with your family, a reunification plan, or a communication plan and having an out-of-state contact that you can reach and check in with and let them know that you're okay. Other things that we recommend you do is build an emergency supply kit. A recommendation is a minimum of 3 days of food and water and other supplies. And I really recommend that you go check out our website, bereadyutah.gov, for more information on ways that you can prepare yourself and your family for emergencies.
Yeah, it's interesting as families change that we don't prepare as much as we should. Like when we had kids, we knew exactly where they were supposed to meet us if something like this happened. But now as our kids have grown up and have moved away, I don't know that they have a plan on where they should meet if something happens to them or if we do have an earthquake.
Yeah, I think now that we all have cell phones, we kind of take that for granted.
We do. And the other thing is, I don't know, I've had my earthquake kit for quite some time. I think I need to look in there and see if everything's good in there.
Yeah, please do, because sometimes things like your food and water can expire, and you might need to change out your batteries and your emergency radio or your flashlight.
Yeah. What other things should we think about? I know at long term we had talked about making sure that your water heater is strapped down. Are there some other things like that we need to think about, especially with our electronics?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a home hazard hunt on our Be Ready Utah website, and that will walk you through identifying anything during an earthquake or disaster that could harm you. That's like things falling on you. You want to know how to turn off your electricity and your gas in the case of an earthquake, and also check for things like making sure that your water heater is strapped to the wall.
Okay. Genevieve, I appreciate your time. Thanks so much for being with me.
Thank you.
Live on the KSL Newsline, that is Genevieve Keys with Be Ready Utah. Let's get you up to date with traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by UCCU. Build smart, save big with construction loans at UCCU. And here's Cormac Bone.
Well, we do have that wintry conditions on the roadways starting to move down through Davis County. I'm looking at a live shot of I-15 in Layton, and the camera is half covered with snow. So you're going to want to watch your speeds right now when those roads get a little more wet than they usually do. Also seeing it in Weber County, especially on Highway 89 between Harrison Boulevard and the mouth of Weber Canyon. Southbound Highway 89 as you come down that hill is especially delayed right now. And if you're trying to get through Sardine Canyon between Brigham City and Manaway, also seeing that heavier winter conditions causing delays really both directions on Highway 89 through that canyon. I'm Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast. You got 55 today for a high. Rain switching to snow with a cold front midday and early afternoon. Breezy. Tomorrow, AM snow shower, then partly cloudy, 48. Rebounding nicely, 62 on Saturday, mostly sunny skies. I got a 74 by Sunday. Moving into Monday, 78, breezy out of the south. Tuesday, 74, partly cloudy skies. We keep it mostly cloudy on Wednesday with a high of 64. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And it's mostly cloudy right now in downtown Salt Lake City, 48 degrees. We are getting word from our texters in Layton that it's very windy there and snowing, but the snow is not sticking right now, but the visibility's about a quarter mile. 7-day forecast is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. We are going to get an update of your money news up next. Quick check of the markets. Markets in positive territory again today.
This is Nate Orchard from Advanced Window Products. When you live in Utah, your windows do a lot more than let the light in. They protect your home from freezing winters, blazing summers, and everything in between. That's why Advanced Window Products builds every window for your local climate. No middleman, no out-of-state delays, just factory direct quality, custom made for your home. Imagine a quieter home, a warmer home, a cooler home. Our high-efficiency vinyl windows are engineered to lower your energy bills and boost your comfort all year round. And installation is done by our own certified in-house crews, never subcontractors. That's why Utah homeowners give us 5-star reviews. Right now, take advantage of our anniversary sale. For a limited time, get $2,500 off when you buy 10 or more windows. Call 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100. For 40 years, Advanced Window Products has been the name Utah trusts for custom replacement windows and sliding glass doors. Advanced Window Products, built here, installed here, trusted here. Call 801-850-9100 for that $2,500 off, or visit us at advancedwindows.com to schedule your free in-home estimate.
Hey, it's Brian with Olson's Greenhouse. In today's busy world, your home should be your sanctuary, a peaceful retreat where you can unwind, breathe deeply, and recharge. And what better way to create that haven than with flowers? A pop of color in your flower beds, a cheerful container garden by the front door, or a lush patio filled with vibrant blooms can transform any space into a personal oasis. Flowers don't just brighten up your home, they lift your spirits too. Research even shows that surrounding yourself with plants can reduce stress and boost happiness. At Olson's Greenhouse, we grow premium quality plants that make it easy to bring beauty and joy into your life. Whether you prefer bold, eye-catching colors or soft, soothing pastels, we have the perfect flowers to complement your space. And with locally grown plants, you know they're ready to thrive. This spring, create a sanctuary of color and comfort with flowers from Olson's Greenhouse. Find us on Instagram at Olson's Greenhouse Gardens or go to ogg.com to find a retailer near you. That's ogg.com for Olson's Greenhouse Gardens.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime.
Our entry-level data plans start at just $20 a month. And for a limited time, switch and get your second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you and get your second month free today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional details.
Liberty Mutual customized this song for you. Like your car insurance, it's custom too, yeah. Liberty Mutual's got the coverage that could save you money. Thanks to Doug and Limu, well now you can go and take that cruise. Liberty, 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 yeah.
Any Hour Services free furnace sale is going on right now. If you haven't scheduled your free estimate yet, do it now. Call Any Hour Services today or schedule online at anyhourservices.com.
KSL News Time 1226. Only in 2026 would a video of a humanoid robot chasing wild boars go viral. It was in Poland where an AI-powered robot named Edward Warchowski chased the pigs out of the city. Now, actually had been a problem in the past. The animals go into residential areas and scare the people. Now, some people are responding saying, hey, that's not a bad use for AI robots. Watching Utah's money, Spirit Airlines could start liquidating the company as soon as this week. It comes as the airline exits its second bankruptcy filing. Finances have been said to be bad since the pandemic, but the cost of fuel is driving them to liquidation. Scammers are using new tactics. Now we are seeing an increased number of them pretending to be job recruiters. It comes as more people struggle looking for a job. The Wall Street Journal says they are looking for money and for personal data. More than half of American farmers say they are having a hard time with the war. The closure of the Strait of Hormuz is mostly affecting southern farmers the hardest. CNBC reports 66% say they can't afford fertilizer. 19% say they pre-ordered enough to last them through this time. And taking a look at your money at this moment, the markets have turned mixed. They had all been in positive territory just 3 minutes ago. Now, the Dow is in positive territory, up 60 points, but the S&P is down by 3, and the NASDAQ has now dropped by 26 points. A Titanic exhibit in Chicago had to close down after it flooded during severe storms this week. The museum director says it was the first time the building has flooded in 40 years, and it just happened to take place as they were marking the 114th anniversary of the sinking of the ship. The museum is still closed while they clean up the mess.
Imagine a world where you can leave the house and take your home Wi-Fi speeds with you. Well, thanks to Xfinity Mobile, it's not just fantasy. Just picture it. You're at your kid's softball practice, streaming the other game in 4K, just like that. At the airport, download a cozy family comedy in a snap. What if the places you had to be felt more like everywhere you wanted to be? That's the magic of Xfinity Mobile. Reliable Wi-Fi and 5G when you need it. Xfinity. Imagine that. Cut your mobile bill in half with 2 lines of unlimited. Visit xfinitymobile.com to learn more. Restrictions apply. Xfinity Internet required. Savings based on promotional rate for 2 lines of Xfinity Mobile Unlimited versus regular rates for 2 lines of T-Mobile Experience More. Verizon Unlimited Plus and AT&T Starter as of 2/10/26. Taxes, fees extra after promo. Regular rates apply. Cut your mobile bill in half. Visit xfinitymobile.com. Xfinity. Imagine that.
Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by UCCU. Build smart, save big. UCCU. Love where you bank. What's happening, Cormac?
Well, we got some wet road conditions already with that early weather start up. It's in Davis County. We've seen some wet roads on I-15 in Layton and a little bit into Kaysville. It's not quite through to Farmington and Centerville just yet, but we do still see it in Weber County as well, especially on Highway 89 between Harrison Boulevard and the mouth of Weber Canyon and I-84. And we also have reports of some heavier police activity southbound State Street in Sandy, just after 94th South. They may have some lanes closed there, so you may want to avoid the area if you can. I'm Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
Cold front expected to sweep through today. Look for a high of 55 in the morning, but by late afternoon, dropping off into the 30s and 40s. We'll see a quick punch of rain and snow. It will be breezy. 28 overnight with a chance for snow showers south and east of the Great Salt Lake. Tomorrow afternoon, chilly and breezy, 48. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And the temperature has dropped to 45 degrees, and one of our texters telling us the snow is sticking now in Uinta.
You're listening to Midday with Maria Shilaos
on KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Good afternoon. KSL News Time 1230. KSL's top story this half hour. Snow is hitting the ground across the Wasatch Front, but a frost is expected to hit tonight, and people who planted gardens early are being warned to protect their crops. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis reports.
Radishes, lettuce, broccoli, and peas should be safe tonight, but USU horticulturalist Ton Bettis says for those who are tempted to plant their whole garden back in March, tonight could be dangerous.
Anybody that has tomatoes in or other warm season crops, if they're not using walls of water or cloches or something to cover the plants, that will give them really good frost protection, and those sorts of things would be in real trouble.
He says the best thing to do is to use some thin blankets to cover the crops and make sure they're secured so they don't blow away. Brianna Willis, KSL News Radio.
At this point, we'll take any water we can get. This storm is not going to be able to do much to combat the ongoing drought other than saturate the soil for a little bit.
Anything is better than nothing, even if it's just moistening things up for a little bit. That will help out some.
That is National Weather Service meteorologist Nick Carletta. All of the state is now dealing with some level of drought, according to the U.S. Drought Monitor. Nearly 60% of Utah is in extreme drought, including much of Tooele County. With temperatures expected to dip into the lower 30s tonight, people are experiencing homelessness people who are experiencing homelessness are being encouraged to seek shelter.
The Rescue Mission of Salt Lake says they're already seeing an increase in the number of people checking into their shelter, and they're expecting to be at capacity tonight. The House manager says they are in communication with state and city homeless representatives to see if a code blue will be issued, allowing them to increase capacity. State law requires a code blue be issued anytime temperatures fall into the upper teens, and while forecasters aren't expecting that tonight, state and city leaders still have the option to issue a code blue to increase capacity at existing shelters and open additional facilities if needed. Don Brinker-Hoff, KSL News Radio.
An update to a story we told you about earlier this week. The San Juan County Sheriff's Office says they have found the truck of a missing hiker. David Engler headed out by himself this past weekend and was supposed to be back on Sunday but never returned. The Sheriff's Office says that the truck was found in a remote part of the county and they are now focusing the search in that area. KSL's top national stories. Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is responding to concerns over measles outbreaks at a House committee hearing. ABC's Jay O'Brien is on Capitol Hill.
Unlike some hearings in the Senate, for example, when there have been lawmakers on those panels like Senator Bill Cassidy, who is a doctor, who have questioned Kennedy themselves as members of the president's own party, we didn't see that take place here. Republicans were largely in lockstep behind Kennedy here in this House hearing, but Democrats continuing to point out what he said about vaccines in the past and this spike in measles cases, this historic surge we've seen across the U.S.
Utah is the epicenter for measles with the most active cases in the country. Since 2025, we've had over 600 confirmed cases. Other national stories KSL is following. Prosecutors in Minnesota have announced assault charges against an ICE agent. It was back in February when Gregory Morgan Jr. pointed a gun at two people in a car. He was off duty. ABC News Chief Justice Correspondent Pierre Thomas says Minnesota officials are describing it as road rage.
What's being described as
two cars driving on a highway. There's some issue in terms of the traffic flow, and they claim that the federal officer in this case was frustrated by what was going on in terms of the traffic flow, pulled up beside a car, wound down his window, and then pointed a firearm at two victims in another car. And they're saying that both him driving on the side of the road was illegal, but also the primary act of pointing the gun they claim is an assault.
Hennepin County Attorney Mary Moriarty says it's the first time where criminal charges have been brought against a federal agent during the Minnesota immigration surge. Two men are facing charges for assaulting police officers during a protest in Salt Lake City. It was back in January when police say Hayden Coquero and Ben Green blocked traffic on major roadways during an ICE protest. Few officers tried to get them out, but say during that altercation they injured them and resisted arrest. Two other people were arrested at the protest for altercations with police. Nevada police say the man accused of killing his son and then himself at the Elko airport this week was suffering from PTSD at the time. Police say Giovanni and his 11-year-old son Callan were traveling to Reno. They say he was actually in a custody dispute with the maternal grandparents and was likely trying to keep Callan away from the family. Police say Giovanni used to be in the military and has said that he had PTSD. First look traffic, let's check in with Cormac Bone.
Well, we do have a new crash eastbound on the 201 before you get into Magna, and the wintry weather conditions are traveling a little bit more. It's now in the Centerville Bountiful area where we're seeing some snow hitting on I-15. I'm Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL News Time, 1236.
Celebrate National Serger Month with super deals on all sewing machines and sergers at Dave's Bernina in St. George and Provo.
0% interest for 24 months on purchases over $1,000.
Purchase a new Bernina L890, L860, or L850 model
and receive special pricing plus an option for a free or discounted Bernina Serger Studio. The world-famous Bernina 990 is on sale and includes thousands of dollars worth of free add-ons. Take advantage of 20% off Bernina Serger accessories.
Amazing bargains on previously owned machines while they last that come with warranties.
Dave's Bernina has made a special purchase of previously owned Bernina 330s for only $499 and a limited supply of event machines, new out-of-the-box Bernina 770 and 790 Pro machines with full warranty.
Dave's Bernina, 691 East St. George Boulevard and 2017 North 550 West in Provo. Dave'sBernina.com.
Taxes could be your biggest expense in retirement. More than housing, more than healthcare, or anything else. And many retirees will overpay their taxes by tens of thousands of dollars every single year. Learn how you could significantly reduce your taxes in retirement at a free event with retirement tax expert Becky Swansburg on Thursday, April 23rd at 6:30 p.m. in downtown Salt Lake. It's hosted by Boss Retirement Solutions. Becky worked in the White House and on Capitol Hill on tax policy, and she has the inside track on the proven strategies that could lead to a windfall of savings in retirement. This event is free, but seating is limited. So reserve your free ticket now by calling this number, 801-850-6988. That number one more time, 801-850-6988.
For informational purposes only, not tax, legal, or investment advice. Speaker is not a client and does not endorse BOSS. Speaker compensation creates a conflict of interest.
And thank you for joining us for Midday. We do have some breaking news. The astronauts from the Artemis II crew are speaking about their mission. This time, though, they're on Earth. Let's listen in to what they have to say.
What I've come to realize is we did what we said we were going to do. Yep. And now we've got to step out and just face that reality. And so that's a great thing. But I'll figure it out tomorrow. Courtney started this by saying the crew is ready. I'm really not, but I will be next week.
Do you mind if I add something?
Yeah. Please.
It's the way you word it. I mean, I love your question, but you say what you guys did, what the four of you did, and we just don't not see it that way. We should be rewording that question to what we did. That's what this was. We just went up and did what we were going to do. All we saw was a camera. We didn't have that connection with you. We lost that connection with Earth by and large. And so we just leaned into what we had. We leaned into each other and mission control, which is really all we had in our families a couple times. But we did that because we had been lifted up and supported to just go up there and be ourselves and just do our job. And we went into it thinking, it's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be good enough. Seems like it was good enough.
I'll add a little bit, just my personal perspective. When I got back, as someone who doesn't necessarily like attention, I don't like the birthday song being sung to me, any of that. My husband said that before I got back, he had a conversation with my brothers and sisters, and they were like, who's going to tell her? Because we didn't know. And in fact, what we were told, really through talking with a couple times with our families, was that there was an impact. Not necessarily the number of viewers or anything like that, but that there was a positive impact, that it was superseding any lines, any identities that people had. And when my husband looked me in the eye on that video call and said, no, really, you've made a difference, it brought tears to my eyes, and I said, that's all we ever wanted. Yep. And I can tell you that the difference now is when we come before you now, we've done this together. We took your hearts with us, and your hearts lifted our hearts. And now that we've done it, I think it's easier to accept that there's attention on the NASA teams, on the fact that we did it. You know, in the beginning, 3 years ago, we were being celebrated for something that we hadn't done. And having put in the work and having seen our team's successes, I think we're ready to share in that inspiration and to celebrate it.
And that is the crew of the Artemis II talking about their historic mission, not only the success of that mission, but also how much attention the mission got and how much Americans really poured their hearts into the mission as well and watched what was happening minute by minute. Let's get you up to date on the drive, traffic, and weather. It's brought to you by UCCU. Earn 4.24% on savings at uccu.com. Cormac?
Well, that snow is starting to hit part of the Salt Lake Valley. We do have snowy conditions eastbound on the 201 freeway just before Magna, where we do also have a crash right after the 202 interchange blocking a right lane and shoulder now. And we do see now we've got 2 right lanes blocked on southbound State Street just after 94th South. With that police activity. Otherwise, though, your roads are looking pretty okay in the Midday drive. I-15, no delays between Ogden and Provo, but there are those wintry conditions coming down from Davis County. Whether you park it, stripe it, or pave it, GoPave Utah has your blacktop covered at gopavutah.com. That's gopavutah.com. Call or visit gopavutah.com. Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
Tracking a cold front today, temperatures topping out before the lunch hour in the mid and upper 50s. Cold front sweeps through and brings in a quick round of rain, switching to snow. It will be breezy. Overnight, 28. Chance for snow showers south and east of the Great Salt Lake. We bounce up to 48 degrees. That's all we get tomorrow. Partly cloudy, giving way to 62 on Saturday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Mostly cloudy, blustery. We're still not seeing that any snowflakes here in downtown Salt Lake City, or nothing of extreme consequence anyway. But it's 45 degrees, pretty cool. Coming up on Midday, we'll hear about a pro-Iranian hacker group targeting big U.S. companies. That's coming up, streaming live at kslnewsradio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio. We are Utah's news, traffic, and weather station. And texters, thank you so much for giving us your weather reports this noon hour.
I'm Congressman Mike Kennedy. For years, Utah families have paid too much for health care, groceries, and everyday essentials. I'm fighting for health care reform that puts patients first and lowers costs. I'm also working to cut waste, fraud, and abuse in Washington because your tax dollars should be spent wisely. Fiscal responsibility means lower costs and a government that works for you. I'm Mike Kennedy, and I'll keep fighting for Utah families. Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
We want to talk about soda, diet, and nutrition. SOTA stands for state of the art. And Andy and I both let go of massive amounts of weight. You more than me.
70 pounds in 5 months.
And I did 37 pounds in 3 months. And what worked for me was so many things. Talking to a nutritionist every week and having her tell me what to eat. I can do as I'm told.
Yeah.
But I have no clue where to begin.
And I needed the help too. It's just food. There's no pills, no injections. So you learn how to both let go of the weight and then how to keep it off.
So Soda Diet and Nutrition is a great place to start. But if you started with pills or medications and you find yourself starting to gain some weight back, Soda Diet and Nutrition is a great way to learn how to have a new relationship with food to go into the future.
You can talk with a nutritionist by calling 866-800-SOTA, S-O-T-A, or you can go to their website, sotadietandnutrition.com.
Join now and your partner joins for free. 2 people, real accountability for the price of 1.
Join us for a short time to have results that last a lifetime.
This Friday, NPS honors founder Kelly and Farmer all day at all 4 locations. Amanda Dixon will be live from 3 to 5 at the Salt Lake City store.
Does your home have peeling paint or faded colors? Don't procrastinate. You need to protect your home with quality paint and a worry-free process, so make an appointment with CertaPro Painters. You quickly get a free estimate that's detailed, easy to understand, and then their trusted local professionals will bring fresh color to your home with quality craftsmanship at the right price. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated, so schedule your free estimate at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. CertaPro.com.
Progressive knows that for business owners, vacations hit different. But hey, at least you finally took a vacation. And look at that. You only answered 53 calls, 84 emails, onboarded 1 new hire, and covered for Chris while he's out on paternity leave, and you did it all from a kayak. Because you, my friend, know how to relax. All right, you may not know how to take a day off, but you do know both your personal and business auto insurance needs can be covered in one place with Progressive. So at least that's relaxing, right? Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states or situations.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime.
Our entry-level data plans start at just $20 a month. And for a limited time, switch and get your second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you and get your second month free today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional details.
KSL News Time, 1245. The 3 things you need to know this hour. First,
Salt Lake City School District says the price of lunches may rise as they struggle to meet the rising cost of food and labor. I'm KSL News Radio's Cameron Elliott.
Second, Utah Valley University says it will not have a commencement speaker this year after critics say the planned speaker, author Sharon McMahon, was disrespectful to Charlie Kirk post-mortem. Third, traffic and weather together, Cormac.
Light congestion both directions on the 201 freeway near the 202 interchange due to a crash. And we do still have these wintry conditions starting to reach almost to the Salt Lake Valley on I-15. I'm Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
Cold front today, but the weekend's trending warmer. I'm Matt Johnson.
It's mostly cloudy in downtown Salt Lake City at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Time now for KSL's top national stories.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. Before leaving the White House for an event in Nevada, President Trump commending leaders from Israel and Lebanon for agreeing to a 10-day ceasefire set to begin later today. The president says he believes the U.S. and Iran are also close to a deal and claims Iran is agreeing not to have enriched uranium.
We have a statement, very powerful statement, that they will not have, beyond 20 years, that they will not have nuclear weapons. That's beyond. There's no 20-year limit.
Iranian officials, meantime, criticizing the U.S. over its blockade in the Strait of Hormuz. The U.S. military announcing it will now target Iranian oil tankers globally. In Minnesota, Hennepin County's prosecutor announced felony assault charges against an ICE agent involved in a confrontation in February on a highway. Authorities claim the ICE agent pointed a gun at people in the car. Homeland Security has not commented on the allegations and arrest warrant. And volatile storms continue to target parts of the Midwest and Plains today. This is ABC News.
Time for the KSL In-Depth. The pro-Iran hacking group is now targeting American companies like Amazon and Dropbox. Former FBI Special Agent in Charge Rich Frankel tells us more.
So this is a pro-Iranian paid group, but they're very pro-Iranian. They've done hacks in the past, and they committed a successful DDoS attack against Amazon Prime, against Dropbox, and several other companies yesterday, effective enough that those companies had to shut down their platforms for a short amount of time so that they could then provide more security to those sites and then brought them back up. It wasn't a permanent or damaging attack, but it was enough that, these online providers had to shut down, and so they were unable to do their job and make money during that time. So they were very effective attacks.
Frankel says the targets were not random.
I think they were targeted because they were big companies with very good cybersecurity. So hackers like that because they want to be able to, show that, brag that they've gotten these. But we do believe that because they are Western companies, this was in retaliation for the U.S.-Israel attacks on Iran. And, we've been expecting this. Iran has been known for hacking in the past. They're very effective at it, and they do use these affiliates of theirs to commit hacks against the West. And so it was just a matter of time, in my opinion, until this was going to happen.
He also adds that it might have been a little easier because of the partial government shutdown.
I think, the partial shutdown has greatly hampered our ability to protect our cybersecurity infrastructure and potentially our physical infrastructure. When DHS was shut down, they basically furloughed everyone from the cybersecurity and infrastructure security agency, the ones that are responsible for working with all the private sector partners and other government agencies in protecting our infrastructure. And because of their shutdown, it could have been one of the reasons why the Iranians, and in this case the Iraqis supporting them, were able to hack into these companies. Listen, the DHS secretary, the new one, has brought them back. He brought them back from furlough. And so they are working, but it takes time for them to spin back up and get to the level that they were before the furlough. And then, I also wonder, how long are they going to be there? DHS is using a special funding mechanism. That funding mechanism is going to run out unless Congress, comes back and funds them. And so if we don't have congressional funding, we may be in the same spot in a week or a month or sometime after, and we just have to deal with this all again.
And that is former FBI Special Agent in Charge Rich Frankel. Traffic and weather. It's brought to you by UCCU. Build smart, save big with construction loans at UCCU. Cormac?
Well, we do still have this crash eastbound on the 201 freeway at the 202 interchange. They're blocking 2 right lanes now, so delays are starting to stack up really both directions there, but it's not too terrible right now. The weather is also causing an additional delay there. We are seeing the weather reaching the snowy conditions starting to reach down towards Salt Lake. I'm looking at a live shot at 1000 North there in North Salt Lake. We are seeing some flurries through there. Otherwise, through like Davis and Weber counties, those have some heavier snow conditions, and we're seeing it affect the roads. Highway 89 from Harrison Boulevard all the way down to the mouth of Weber Canyon, a little bit heavier than normal. I'm Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast. I got a cold front today. Temperatures will top in the mid-50s, but after the front moves through, look for temperatures to drop off into the 40s and 30s, with rain quickly switching to snow. Tomorrow, AM snow shower, then it's partly cloudy, 48. 62 mostly sunny skies on Saturday. Sunday looks good with a high of 74 and partly cloudy skies. We're all the way up to 78 by Monday. Breezy out of the south, mostly sunny. Partly cloudy, 74 on Tuesday, but by next Wednesday, 64 degrees and mostly cloudy skies. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And it's mostly cloudy, 45 degrees downtown. The 7-day forecast brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful.
What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and there's a good chance you've heard me talking about our free furnace sale. The one where you buy a new air conditioner and we give you a new furnace for just the cost to install it, about $400. Well, we still have a few more spots on our schedule we need to fill, so I'm extending the sale, but I'm not quite sure for how much longer. Definitely no later than April 30th, and once I think our schedule's full enough, I gotta pull these ads, so don't wait too long to call and schedule your free estimate. The main reason we do this sale is to give you an incentive to help us keep our guys busy when the weather's mild. And thanks to your help, we're able to keep our guys and keep growing. So if your furnace and air conditioner are ready to be replaced, you owe it to yourself to at least schedule a free estimate and get all the details about our free furnace sale. Just to recap, when you have Any Hour Services install a new air conditioner, we'll give you a new furnace for just the cost to install it. About $400. The furnace is free, you just pay the labor. If you think you might be interested, call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7400. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Stop for a moment and think about this. Do you know how much money in your 401k or IRA is actually yours? Or will the government take a bigger chunk than you thought? Remember, you still might owe taxes on that money. But do you have a plan to help make sure you don't pay more than you should? At Capital Wealth Advisors, we believe you deserve to keep more of what you've earned, which is why we're here to help you navigate the confusing world of retirement taxes. It's your money. You deserve to know what's at stake. Right now, taxes are historically low, but they won't be this low forever. So call the Capital Wealth Advisors team today so you don't miss out on this opportunity. 801-210-5500. That's 801-210-5500. You work hard for your money, and we'll work just as hard to help you keep it. Capital Wealth Advisors, 801-210-5500. Advisory services offered through Capital Wealth Advisors, LLC, a state of Utah registered investment advisor. Firm may not give tax advice.
I remember brushing my hair and looking down and thinking, oh my gosh, do I have any hair left?
I used to look at women with thick, beautiful hair and think, why doesn't my hair look like that?
My thinning hair is making me feel so old.
If you want thick, healthy, gorgeous hair, then you need Hair Volume from New Nordic. With clinically proven ingredients like apple extract, biotin, and millet, Hair Volume nourishes your hair follicles to promote thicker, healthier-looking hair. Say goodbye to shedding, thin, and dull hair, and hello to thick, healthy hair with Hair Volume.
Since taking Hair Volume, the shedding has all but stopped.
Now, instead of being jealous of other women's hair, I have friends who are jealous of mine.
My hairdresser couldn't believe the difference in my hair. Now she's using Hair Volume too.
Available as a tablet or delicious gummy, Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and NewNordicUSA.com, or find Hair Volume in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
And watching Utah's money, the Dow right now is up by 65 points. S&P and the NASDAQ have turned back into positive territory, with the S&P up by 5 and the NASDAQ up by 30 points.
One Kind Act a Day is a program from the Semnani Family Foundation. One Kind Act a Day seeks to create kinder communities by inspiring daily acts of deliberate kindness. Their work includes programs in schools, businesses, communities, faith groups, and prisons, where they help enhance the culture of kindness and increase a sense of community. The world always needs more kindness. No matter what our background or beliefs are, kindness towards others and ourselves is something that everyone can get behind. Kindness can be big or small, but the ripple effect can reach out in ways that we don't even realize. Wouldn't life be better if we were all a little more kind? You can do your part by starting today. All it takes is one kind act a day. Find out more and take the pledge of kindness at thepowerofkind.org. That's thepowerofkind.org.
For over 22 years, speaking on business on KSL News Radio has been a beloved tradition, celebrating our heroic business leaders and Utah consumers who have helped build one of the strongest state economies in the nation. Now, under the stewardship of the Salt Lake Chamber and hosted by Chamber President and CEO Derek Miller, the program continues to shine a spotlight on those who make Utah's business environment dynamic and thriving. With his expertise and passion, Derek brings the stories of our business community to life. As part of the Salt Lake Chamber, Speaking on Business is proud to continue its legacy of highlighting inspiring stories, trends, and special guests. Support Utah businesses now and be part of Utah's thriving economy. More information can be found at slchamber.com. That's slchamber.com.
Sign up for KSL Text Alerts. Get breaking news and traffic updates by texting the word news to 57500. Want access to exclusive contests? Text contest to 57500. Jazz fans, text the word jazz for breaking jazz updates. And Cougar fans, text BYU to 57500 for the latest on the Cougars. Message and data rates may apply.
traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by UCCU. Build smart, save big. UCCU. Love where you bank. Cormac?
We do still have this crash eastbound on the 201 freeway at the 202 interchange, blocking 2 right lanes, causing some congestion, especially coming down on the 202, trying to get onto the 201. We also still have this police activity on northbound State Street in Sandy, just after 100 South. They are blocking, it looks like 2 right lanes, but I can't exactly see it. There's a raindrop on the camera. Speaking of, we are starting to see that weather reaching down into the Salt Lake Valley, so watch your speeds in the wet roads. Common Spirit hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advanced healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Healthcare with human kindness is here. Hello, human kindness. Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
And taking a look at the forecast for the Wasatch Front, you can see that storm is moving in. We already hit the high today of 55 right now, 38 degrees downtown.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The skies around the Wasatch Front getting cloudy this hour as the temperatures continue to drop. The storm may be relatively dry, but a freeze warning is in effect for tonight.
We have a cold front that's going to be sliding through the northern half of the state today. Look for not a ton of snow. This thing just doesn't pack a lot of moisture with it, but it will drop the temperature significantly with some wind.
The time is 1 o'clock on Thursday, April 16th. It's midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Coming up, we'll get an hour-by-hour look at this storm and the ice-cold temps behind it. We'll also chat about ways to protect any new plants that you may have planted when we did have that nice warm weather last month. Also this hour,
the national home sales picture is one that, frankly, is underperforming.
a bit of a home sales slump nationally and here in Utah, even as the home buying season prepares to kick into high gear. But first, our top stories. We do have breaking news. Sandy police are asking people to avoid 9800 South and State Street after a road rage shooting in the area. They say there is not a current threat to the surrounding schools or businesses. We do have a reporter on the way to the scene, and we will keep you up to date. The price of school lunches in the Salt Lake City School District may soon rise by more than $1. KSL News Radio's Cameron Elliott has more.
In a meeting on Tuesday, the Salt Lake City School Board discussed the idea of raising the price after the district had a $2 million deficit for school lunches last year. The price would rise by 50 cents to $1.50 depending on the grade level. The last time the board raised the price of lunches was 2012, and every year since then has been able to cover the cost with assistance from federal funds. Now, though, Salt Lake City School District Business Administrator Alan Kearsley says rising labor costs paired with the soaring cost of food is putting stress on the budget.
Students who receive free lunches will be unaffected. Our top national story from ABC News. Today, President Trump announced that Israel and Lebanon have agreed to a 10-day ceasefire. ABC's Marcus Moore has more from Beirut.
There are a number of questions about how this ceasefire, once it goes into effect, how it will play. And I say that because there is a great deal of distrust among many here in Lebanon and across the region who point to previous ceasefires, including the one that was agreed to in November of 2024 between Israel and Hezbollah.
The ceasefire goes into effect at 3 o'clock local time. Meantime, U.S. officials say ceasefire between the U.S. and Iran is holding, but that the U.S. military is ready to strike again if there are violations. Here's Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth in a news conference this morning.
We'd prefer to do it the nice way, through a deal led by our great vice president and negotiating team, or we can do it the hard way.
U.S. officials have also said that the ongoing blockade in the Strait of Hormuz is working. Other national stories KSL is following. Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell says he plans to stay on as chair until a successor is confirmed. But the future leadership of the Fed is up in the air as President Trump's pick is facing a roadblock to confirmation over Justice Department investigation into renovation project at the Fed. More now from ABC's Elizabeth Schulze.
As long as that investigation is ongoing, you have a very prominent Republican Senator, Tom Tillis, who says he will not move forward with President Trump's pick, Kevin Warsh, as the Fed chair until that investigation is fully dropped. Tillis has not backed down at this point. So even though Kevin Warsh's nomination is set to go forward, the hearing is next week. It doesn't look like he could get through until the investigation's dropped. That's not happened yet.
Powell's term is set to end next month. Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow is up by nearly 100 points, sitting at 48,559. S&P up by 11. The Nasdaq up by 54 points. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by UCCU. Earn 4.24% on savings at uccu.com. Ricky?
Well, Mother Nature has returned, and you could be driving on wet roads and through precipitation, even some reduced visibility anywhere on the west side of Salt Lake County or to the north. And that's from, I'm going to say, about Bountiful on up to Box Elder County. We have an accident eastbound on the 21st South Freeway at the 202 junction. It's been blocking a right lane. And police activity in Sandy, it's affecting both directions of travel. Officers asking you to avoid the area of State Street at about 9800 South. The Good Feet store, supporting you with comfort no matter what the day brings. Find the location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
And we are starting to see some light snow in downtown Salt Lake City, and again, a 90% chance for the rest of the day. The temperature, if you think today's cold, our temperatures dropped dramatically in the last hour, but tomorrow will be 48 for the high. Right now, 38 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Getting help with electrical repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 877 Cars for Kids to speak to a friendly live agent. Donation is super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Go to carsforkids.org now or call 877 Cars for Kids to donate your car today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids.
Did you know you can donate real estate too? Go to carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K.
Hi, this is Derek Overstreet, president of the New Millennium Group and co-host of Stop Working, Start Living with KSL News Radio. Can you imagine what your life would be like if you could retire 3 to 5 years earlier than you thought possible? The things you could do, the loved ones you could spend time with, the memories that you could create. That's what our team at the New Millennium Group does. We'll walk you through the entire process every step of the way. If you'd like to get a copy of the 5-step proprietary plan that will help you retire 3 to 5 years sooner than you thought possible, give us a shout right now. 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com. Listen, most of our listeners right now have a tax problem, not a money problem. There's not enough money in Social Security Medicare as it is. Let us show you how you can significantly reduce your taxes. That's 888-999-6370, 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com.
Thanks for tuning into Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Some wintry weather blowing into Utah right now, bringing rain, some snow, and freezing temperatures. A bit of flurries outside of KSL Broadcast House right now with steam rising from the road. Tonight, freeze warnings are in effect across the Wasatch Front and back, and those warnings will be back in full force tomorrow night, too. Let's talk more about the storm with KSL meteorologist Devin Mashuli. Devin, it's so weird to see that steam rising from the road. I'm sure it's because the roads are hot, right?
Yeah, and you know what's even weirder? It was like 63 degrees this morning. So temperatures are backwards today because of this cold front that we have moving through. And it is, as you can see, has dropped snow levels down to the valley floors already. So we have some really good steady snow showers where I'm at downtown, and I've heard it's been pretty heavy at times in Weber and Davis County. It's kind of working through the northern half of the Wasatch Front right now.
Yeah, in fact, the temperature dropped from 45 degrees when I started the noon hour to 38 degrees right now. So that's just the drastic change as that storm moves in. Okay, you mentioned what we were seeing here. Is the entire state seeing weather like this?
No, it's mostly just along this cold front right now across northern Utah. Now, over the next couple of hours, it's going to continue to move south. So it's really going to work through the rest of the Wasatch Front through about the early evening hours, and then it's going to slide into central Utah. So really the most dynamic part is what we're experiencing right now, how it quickly dropped temperatures, it quickly changed snow levels, or, rain over to snow, and then it's going to bring, obviously, the big cold and the wind behind it. That's really the thing that we're going to feel tonight into tomorrow morning.
So with it being so warm on the roads, it probably won't stick here, but what should we see in the mountains? Are we expecting some significant snowfall in the mountains?
Unfortunately, it seems like the snowfall totals have continued to kind of wind down with this storm. But, a couple of inches, or say 3 to 6 inches up in the Cottonwoods still looks probable. And, of course, we get some really good heavy bursts, maybe a little bit higher than that. But not a great storm, and it's so quick moving. But, hey, at this late in the season, we'll kind of take what we get and kind of scattered across the northern mountains 1 to 2 inches, and up to ½ inch on the benches and the Wasatch back. So maybe a little slush up here and there, just given if we get a really nice heavy shower in the valleys. But outside of that, we're not expecting too much because you're right. The roads are warm.
Yeah, okay. So I know people got excited. They were planning all sorts of things they probably shouldn't have. And we have a freeze warning in effect. So tell us about the freeze warning.
This freeze warning, now I remember we had a freeze warning a couple weeks ago, and that was when we were forecasting a low in Salt Lake City around 32 degrees. This is going to be a more hard freeze, which means temperatures are guaranteed to be below freezing for several hours. We have lows dipping into the mid to upper 20s here along the Wasatch Front. So plants will see damage if they are not protected. Some people probably already have de-winterized some of their pipes, and that can definitely be have damage because of how cold it's going to be. And you can only imagine we have single digits up in the mountains and the mountain valleys, in the teens. So it is going to be very cold tonight behind this cold front, and a little bit breezy as well.
And a freeze warning tomorrow night too, right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Temperatures will be a touch warmer, but we'll be close, upper 20s, low 30s, still cold, yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Devin. That is Devin Mashuli, KSL 5 meteorologist. With the freeze warning in effect for the next 2 nights, you might want to take some extra precautions with anything that you've recently planted, like garden plants or new trees.
Anytime temperatures dip below 28, the fruit trees can get damaged from frost.
KSL Greenhouse host on Bettis there, and he tells KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis that we did have a frost warning a few weeks ago, but it was more isolated. This one, he says, looks more widespread.
Well, a couple of weeks ago, we already had a frost across many parts of the Wasatch Front that did do damage, especially on the north and south ends where it's a little cooler, and like the Tremonton and Pace and Santaquin areas. The warmer areas of the Wasatch Front may not have been damaged so much. So, between Provo and up into Willard. But with this second round, I've read some areas are going to be down anywhere from 25 to 27. And it isn't just an absolute frost takes everything out or it doesn't. It's more at 28 degrees, you'll have around 10% loss, but at 26 degrees, you have about 90% loss. And so, especially for hobby growers, that could mean that they are getting a lot less fruit, unfortunately.
So what can you do to protect your new budding plants?
If their trees are smaller, they can go to a local farm store or garden center and purchase frost blankets, which are a thin, oftentimes remay material or something similar, and wrap the trees up. If the trees are 15 or 20 feet tall, that becomes a lot more difficult just because of, how do you get that tree wrapped up and keep the fabric from bunching up and things. And so it's a lot more difficult bigger trees.
Now, what if you've already planted your garden? Some people have chosen to plant earlier than in the past, given the warm streak earlier this spring. Don says some garden plants can handle the cold, but not all of them.
If you've got cool season crops in, so lettuce, radishes, broccoli, things of that nature, I'm not as worried. Those will usually tolerate temperatures down anywhere from the high 20s to the mid 20s, depending on the species. It would still be wise to maybe stretch a frost blanket or something similar over the crops, but I'm less worried about them than people, when, especially in March, we're wanting to plant tomatoes and corn, which is just the wrong time to do it. And, our standard planting time's early to mid-May along the Wasatch Front. And so anybody that has tomatoes in or other warm season crops, if they're not using walls of water or cloches or something to cover the plants, that will give them really good frost protection, and those sorts of things would be in real trouble.
Ton Bettis is a horticulturist at Utah State University and the co-host of the KSL Greenhouse Show, which airs every Saturday morning with me from 8 to 11. As the storm passes through today and as the warm weather comes back next week, make sure you have both the KSL Weather app and the KSL News Radio app downloaded so that you can get the most up-to-date forecast and weather warnings and any breaking news involving wildfires and the like. You can find both free in the Apple App Store and Google Play stores. Stay with us. We'll be back with more in just 60 seconds.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast. Orders roll in, deadlines close in. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Every package stays in our secure network from dock to door. And with nationwide reach, dependable tracking, and upfront affordable pricing, you get built-in peace of mind. You run the business. We run the routes. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The Utah Mammoth now set to play the Las Vegas Golden Knights in the first round of the upcoming Stanley Cup playoffs. It comes after the team clinched the top wild card spot in the West earlier this week. We don't know exactly when the first game will be, but it will be held in Las Vegas. I spoke with Cole Bagley, KSL's Mammoth insider, about the playoffs and what it means for the team to make it this far as such a young team. And first of all, Cole, start with what happened this week. What does it mean to earn the top wild card spot?
Yeah, so the way that the Stanley Cup playoffs are set up is it's not your traditional 1 through 8 seeding. How it works is there's 4 divisions, and the top 3 from each division qualify for the playoffs. But then they take the top 2 remaining teams as wild card teams throughout the rest of the conferences, and those 2 teams then draw the top teams from their respective top 2 divisions. So right now, Utah has clinched the top wildcard spot, which means that they will play the winner of the Pacific Division in the first round.
So this is a young team. How big a deal is it for them to make the playoffs?
Yeah, it's huge. This is just kind of the culmination of everything that they've been building over the last couple seasons. Dating back to Arizona, this team, hit the reset button about 5 years ago. They weren't happy with their current trajectory. They sold off on a lot of their players. They made a bunch of trades, and they invested in a rebuild. And, that's come with some growing pains. That's come with, some opportunity to mature and to take notable steps every season. And, like I said, 5 years in, this was the standard. This is what they expected to do this year. They talked about it during the opening interviews at the beginning of the season, and even dating back to the end of last season. They wanted to make the playoffs, and they've been able to do that. So, yeah, it's just another step in the right direction, which ultimately is, for them in their minds, is winning a Stanley Cup. but you got to start somewhere. And now that they've made the playoffs, they can start gathering playoff experience and learn what it takes to get to the top.
Describe how the Stanley Cup playoffs work. I mean, are any of these games going to be held here in Salt Lake City?
Yeah. So every round is a best of 7, and how it works is the top seed in the matchup gets 2 games at home, and then the bottom seed gets 2 games at home, and then from there it's 1-1-1. So yeah, I mean there's Utah will at least host 2 playoff games, and then if they're able to prolong the series, they could end up hosting 3 in the first round, and then if they're able to punch their ticket to future rounds, it kind of goes from there. So yeah, Utah, Salt Lake City, the Delta Center are about to experience, I'm obviously biased, but, in my opinion, the greatest postseason in all of sports. I mean, the Stanley Cup, it just means more. Everything is just, I don't know if you've been to a game or fans that have been to a game, but you have not even experienced hockey until you've been to the Stanley Cup playoffs. So just really excited for everybody in our community to see what it's like.
Cole Bagley is KSL's Mammoth Insider. Now, if you want to watch the Mammoth in person play in the playoffs, prepare to pay a pretty penny. But even with those higher prices, they don't come close to what fans in other cities will have to pay to see their teams on the ice. KSL News Radio's Adam Small has those details.
The Deseret News took a deep dive into the ticket prices of all 16 of the NHL's playoff teams, and while they found Mammoth tickets are not cheap, just over $180 for nosebleeds, compare that to Montreal, $292 on the low end. Philadelphia, $310. Buffalo, try $464 per ticket. Actually, Mammoth fans are pretty lucky because if you're willing to take a road trip, Vegas has the cheapest tickets in the league at $76. If you want the best seats in the house at the Delta Center, tickets are almost $2,400 a pop, but you'll have to tack on an extra $1,000 at least for prime seating in 5 other cities. In Buffalo, prime seating is more than $7,000 a ticket. At the Delta Center, Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
Join Jeff Kaplan's afternoon news today and tomorrow at 4:45 for in-depth coverage on the upcoming Stanley Cup playoffs and the effects of the Mammoth making the playoffs. That's this afternoon and tomorrow at 4:45 right here on KSL News Radio.
Traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 9s, brought to you by UCCU. Build smart, save big. UCCU. Love where you bank. You are going to be dealing with some light precipitation either in rain or snowfall anywhere along the Wasatch Front from Salt Lake County on north. And we're seeing that speeds are slowing down on a wet road surface northbound I-15 between 33rd South and 1300 South. Heavy delays with traffic at a crawl. Not sure what's happening here. We can't see what's going on, but southbound I-15 in Weber County, traffic is a drag from the I-84 junction in Riverdale through Roy. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Doug Wright here with Monty at Connecticut Quality Water Systems of Salt Lake, an authorized independent dealer. Monty, give it to me straight. Why is Connecticut the premium choice over those standard electric softeners?
Doug, it comes down to this. Do you want an appliance you have to babysit? Standard water softeners have microprocessors and computers that need setting and adjustment. And they use a lot more salt. So you get to haul 40-pound bags of salt down to your basement every month or so.
And Connecticut?
Zero electricity, 0 timers to reset, 0 downtime, and uses 70% less salt. It's a higher standard of engineering that completely removes the hassle of owning a water softener.
That's what I love about my Connecticut. Dee and I never have to even think about it. We occasionally add a bag of salt and it just works, and I've never had to set or adjust anything. Do what I did and get the one that just works. Find out how soft your water could be at softwaterutah.com. That's softwaterutah.com.
My friend Joey means well. Always remember that the early bird gathers no moss.
But he gets a little confused.
You know, you can't make a silk purse out of a wooden nickel.
Like Joey, many of us can be confused when it comes time to plan for retirement. When to take Social Security, how to use that 401k, what about the stock market, taxes, and Medicare? Todd Kim at Galileo Wealth Management can help to simplify retirement planning. His goal is to have you walk into retirement with confidence, not worry, and to address the number one concern among retirees today, the fear of running out of money. Call Galileo Wealth today for a no-cost, no-obligation meeting to talk about the details of your retirement. 385-247-7000. It's 385-247-7000. or online at GalileoWealth.com. And remember,
one man's trash is thicker than water. Of course, water's not thick at all. It's watery.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast. Orders roll in, deadlines close in. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Every package stays in our secure network from dock to door. And with nationwide reach, dependable tracking, and upfront affordable pricing, you get built-in peace of mind. You run the business. We run the routes. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
Breaking news for your home. Wayday. Wayfair's big sale is almost here, and you can score the best deals in home. Like up to 80% off everything home. Yes, you heard that right. 80% off with free shipping on everything. Plus surprise flash deals all Wayday long. We're talking outdoor furniture and essentials, rugs, and more. All at Wayfair, and all up to 80% off during Wayday. Shop Wayfair's Wayday from April 25th through 27th.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Salt Lake City, this is your final boarding call, extended by popular demand. Titanic, the exhibition, is sailing away soon. Don't miss your last chance to experience the heartbreaking and heroic stories of her passengers and crew. See the incredible artifacts before the doors close forever on April 19th at the Shops at Southtown in Sandy. Get your tickets before they're gone at thetitanicexhibition.com. That's thetitanicexhibition.com.
You were listening to a replay of an earlier episode of Midday with Maria Shilaos. We continue to learn potential long-term effects of Utah's literacy challenges among children. You'll recall that a recent study from the Kempsey-Gardner Policy Institute found that roughly 50% of Utah's third graders are not reading at grade level. President and CEO of the Salt Lake Chamber, Derek Miller, makes the argument that this isn't just an education challenge, but it's also a workforce challenge for the state of Utah. So talk about what it really means. I mean, why is it a workforce problem?
Well, of course, none of your listeners would be surprised to know that the most important part of any business of any size in any location are its employees, the people. And it's the people that make these businesses successful. And so we just look at this study that you referenced from the Kempsey-Gardner Policy Institute and get very concerned because the workforce of tomorrow does not just begin when people are graduating from college or even from high school. It goes all the way back to this third grade because we know that up until third grade, children are learning to read, but at third grade, something very important happens in the child's mind, and that is then they start reading to learn. That's when they start to gather all the intelligence, ability, cognitive ability that they have. And so to see this report was shocking and troubling to us that about 50% of Utah's third graders are not reading at a third grade level.
How do you believe that this really impacts our ability to compete?
It absolutely will have an impact because I worked for Governor Huntsman in corporate recruitment, getting businesses to move to Utah. And although every business is different, there was one thing that they all had in common, and that is their number one need was to know what Utah's workforce looked like. And for so many years, that has been a competitive advantage for our economy to have a very well-educated and hard-working workforce. And to see that we have a rising generation that may not have that same competitive advantage should worry all of us.
How do we solve this problem in your mind?
I think the good news in this is that it is solvable. We looked at the study from the Gardner Policy Institute, and which showed that only 1% to 3% of students have severe reading difficulty, which means when we look at the problem that needs to be solved, it's not so difficult that we can't overcome it, but it does take a concerted effort, and it does require us to look at other models around the country. One of those models is in Mississippi. This is a state that ranked at the very bottom for third grade reading literacy, now ranks in the top 10. They didn't overcome their challenge overnight. It took about a decade, but it gives us a roadmap for some things that we ought to be doing.
So what do you see then as maybe the chamber's role or the role of employers in helping solve this problem?
One of the most important things that the chamber does is to advocate for good policy. And that is certainly what we did during this last legislative session. We were advocating to the legislature for early literacy programs, for evidence-based classroom interventions, that we would have not just retention at third grade if they couldn't pass a reading test, but more importantly, we should never talk about retention without talking about intervention, early intervention. The system's failing if a child gets to third grade and we're only discovering then that they're having a challenge reading at grade level. We need to have that early intervention. And so another thing that the chamber advocated for was to have paraprofessionals in each one of these classrooms, paraeducator support in these elementary classrooms. And we're grateful that we had Governor Cox also advocating for that, and that the legislature put about $80 million towards it. The other thing that I would add is that in addition to the advocacy, the private sector also has a role to play in both providing additional funding through philanthropic support, also through volunteering to go read with children. And then the third one that I would point to is that we need our businesses having family-friendly policies that will support parents having the time to be with their children and especially to read with them.
I appreciate your time. Thanks so much for being with me.
Thank you.
And Derek Miller is the president and CEO of the Salt Lake Chamber.
1:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Claire Scott. KSL's top story this hour. And it is developing news. Sandy police are looking for the person who shot at another car this afternoon. They say that a window was shot out of a van, but no one was hurt. They're asking people to stay away from 90 South State Street while they investigate. We have a reporter on the way, and we'll continue to bring you the very latest this afternoon. A frost is expected to cover the state tonight, and eager gardeners are being warned to prepare.
Anybody that has tomatoes in or other warm season crops, if they're not using walls of water or cloches or something to cover the plants, that will give them really good frost protection, and those sorts of things would be in real trouble.
USU horticulturalist Tom Bettis says a thin frost blanket can also be put over plants and then secured to prevent frost. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. President Trump says the U.S. is close to a deal with Iran, which will bring down the price of gas and oil. ABC's Elizabeth Schulze has more.
The reality is that we probably will not see that huge drop in oil in the next, at least near term. Part of that is the fact that we don't see evidence of oil flowing at all at the level that it was before the start of the war. And you do have the supply constraints because of what's happened from the actual attacks during this war. We've seen several big oil facilities in the Middle East get, damaged, and it is going to take months or even years to get that production ramped up again.
A ceasefire between Lebanon and Israel begins in just over an hour, which the president says will help with talks with Iran. And coming up, showers continue through the afternoon. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 1:32.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Progressive knows you could have easily taken the freeway, but you took the scenic route to see a waterfall and an oddly busy boiled peanut stand. Discovering the unexpected is exactly why you bought an RV, so protect it with a bundle from Progressive. Because although you may be 3 hours behind schedule, you're 6 jars of jam richer and possibly enrolled in a butter-churning workshop. Switch to Progressive and protect your RV, boat, or motorcycle by bundling with your home or auto insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and third-party insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRANGER, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
This is Jeff Stout with Fink and McGregor, Mortgages Made Simple. Let's talk conventional versus FHA loans. Both offer cash-out refinances up to 80% loan-to-value or LTV, so which is best for you? It's kind of like Uber and Lyft. I always compare the two before booking a ride. Conventional loans don't have mortgage insurance under 80% LTV. However, the rates and costs get higher with lower credit scores, cash-out, and high LTVs. FHA loans always have mortgage insurance, but the rates are lower, they don't penalize you for cash out and high LTV loans, and they allow for higher debt-to-income ratios. FHA often results in lower payment even with mortgage insurance. We can analyze your situation within minutes. Call us today. Fink and McGregor, Mortgages Made Simple, 801-264-9494. That's 264-9494. Or on the web at finkmcgregor.com. NMLS 289115.
An emergency can happen any second. Here's a few seconds to think about where you'd go. When you need medical care fast, the closest emergency room is a smart thing to know. Common Spirit Health ERs are your direct path between feeling scared or uncomfortable and feeling better. Find emergency care in your neighborhood at mountain.commonspirit.org.
Traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 9s, brought to you by UCCU. Build smart, save big with construction loans at UCCU. Here's Ricky Meese.
We've had traffic at a crawl on southbound I-15 in Weber County. Not really sure why. It's actually starting to move again southbound I-15 after 31st Street in Ogden down to 5600 South in Roy. On northbound I-15 in Salt Lake County, it is crowded and slow, and you're driving on wet roads as this rain and light snow comes through the valley. But northbound slowing starting from about 3900 South to downtown. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
A high of 55 today. Scattered showers continue through the afternoon with lake effect snow showers possible tonight and tomorrow morning. Temperatures decrease overnight with highs in the 40s tomorrow. Right now, 38 and snowing. I'm Claire Scott from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
You were listening to a replay of an earlier episode of Midday with Maria Shilaos. Thanks for tuning into Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. New numbers out today show a downward trend in the housing market. And before you think, well, yeah, home sales go down in the winter months, this report shows not only a decline for the month of March, but also year over year. That's according to a brand new report on existing home sales in March from the National Association of Realtors. But how do the numbers look here in Utah? And does that mean it's a buyer's or a seller's market? Joining me from Bankrate is senior economic analyst Mark Hamrick to provide us with some analysis.
The national home sales picture is one that, frankly, is underperforming. We see year over year and month over month declines in existing home sales. Mind you, this is sales of previously owned homes. New home sales are tracked separately from this. All four regions that the National Association of Realtors monitors saw sales declined, and the activity broadly is described as very sluggish and slow. We also saw a continued rise in the national median sales price, meaning we see home prices moving up to a national record of $408,800. The median means that half of the homes that were sold went for a higher price, and half of the homes that were sold went for a lower price. And it was also noted in their briefing this morning that lower-priced homes actually were selling less than higher-priced homes. So the real picture here is one where the market is constrained by the low supply of homes available for sale. We will have more homes going on the market here during, what is springtime and sort of home buying season. The constraints also are price related because we are seeing home prices on a national basis continuing to rise. And of course, mortgage rates are one of the things which have been essentially a casualty of the Iran war. interest rates in the bond market have gone higher, and this is what sets the tone for mortgage rates. So the national average for 30-year fixed rate mortgage is just above 6%. So this is Bankrite's weekly survey. And, earlier in the year before the war, we were seeing rates that were in the 6.25% range, and on a daily basis, Mortgage News Daily even had rates going right below 6%. So the outlook is quite downbeat for the housing market, but we also want to mention that, the number that we look at, which is the seasonally adjusted annual sales pace, is just under 4 million. So that means that for the year, we might expect around 4 million homes sold. So that's not zero. It's just that it's a much slower and sluggish housing market than would typically be the case for all the reasons that we just mentioned.
So, Mark, what would be the big takeaway for those folks who were looking to sell their home or buy a home?
Well, first of all, I think that whether we're looking at the Salt Lake City area or nationally, this is definitely a situation where there is an extremely tight supply of homes on the market. That was true recently in what we saw in the Salt Lake City data as well. And so if you're inclined to sell your home, you're probably in a pretty good place. Obviously, every home is different, every neighborhood is different, every community is different. But on the other hand, if you're a buyer, I would say, you're going to have to do your homework to find, first of all, a home that is for sale. If you have a really great realtor, they might even know of a home that might be going on the market even before they put the sale sign up. And then you just simply need to be savvy, because if we're talking about a mortgage rate average, a 30-year fixed at about 6.5%, that means that you can get a lower mortgage rate, particularly if you're well qualified, have a high credit score that qualifies you for a lower rate. And of course, you can pay points to get an even lower rate. So I would say don't be discouraged about the trajectory of mortgage rates, because we're still a bit below where we were a year ago, but we're not as low as many people would like to be.
You mentioned that those homes in the kind of more upper income level haven't been as impacted by this kind of downturn. Kind of describe what you think is happening there.
I think one of the reasons why you see more expensive homes moving more in the marketplace is simply because well-qualified buyers are more mobile, and those who are less mobile, less able to move, less able to purchase a home, are more stuck. And that's been the story for quite some time. We have this dynamic that many describe as a so-called K-shaped economy, where middle and lower income, middle and lower wealth households and individuals are obviously constrained by the inflationary supercharged market, which has been in place for some time and got another leg up here with the Iran war. And those who have greater financial resources or are wealthier just simply are more agile and have greater resources to put to work. And so that's reflected in the housing market as well.
You mentioned more homes will be coming on the market now that the weather is kind of warming up. What's kind of the future trend for the summer when it comes to housing prices and sales?
As long as supply remains constrained, I think it's reasonable to expect that on a national basis, we'll still see a modest increase in home prices. The increases are not as large as they had been, simply because I think in part we have these affordability constraints, and we also have the fact that the housing market is, at least on a national basis, somewhat slow and sluggish. The National Association of Realtors just revealed that it has adjusted its forecast for mortgage rates to be higher this year than was thought before. It was looking for them to average around 6% for the year, and they're now looking for the average to be about 6.5%, or where they are right now. Of course, this is very volatile. And they're also downgrading their sales outlook for the full year, having previously thought that we would have a low double-digit percentage increase, namely around 14% for the year, and they've chopped 10% off of that down to a 4% increase. But I would say that it's very important for people to keep in mind that real estate is as local a consideration as there is when it comes to economics. And so to the extent that sales have been firm in the Salt Lake City area, one would think that that momentum carries through. And that probably speaks to, the question of who commands the greater power in the marketplace? Is it buyers or sellers? It would look to me like right now that there is some balance there, but savvy shoppers can always win the day.
Mark Hamrick is a senior economic analyst with Bankrate.
We want to talk about soda, diet, and nutrition. SOTA stands for state of the art. And Andy and I both let go of massive amounts of weight. You more than me.
70 pounds in 5 months.
And I did 37 pounds in 3 months. And what worked for me was so many things. Talking to a nutritionist every week and having her tell me what to eat. I can do as I'm told.
Yeah.
But I have no clue where to begin.
And I needed the help too. It's just food. There's no pills, no injections. So you learn how to both let go of the weight and then how to keep it off.
So soda, diet, and nutrition is a great place to start. But if you started with pills or medications and you find yourself starting to gain some weight back, soda, diet, and nutrition is a great way to learn how to have a new relationship with food to go into the future.
You can talk with a nutritionist by calling 866-800-SOTA, S-O-T-A, or you can go to their website, sotadietandnutrition.com.
Join now and your partner joins for free. 2 people, real accountability for the price of 1.
Join us for a short time to have results that last a lifetime.
Dozens of Utah prison inmates marked a major milestone this week, earning college certificates through Ensign College. In a place often defined by limits, walls, guarded fences, and few independent choices, dozens of inmates are finding a way towards freedom and mobility, hoping for new beginnings that can come through education. This was the first commencement ceremony for graduates of Ensign College's prison education program. College President Bruce Cush joined Inside Sources today to talk about this special program.
So we actually began in the fall of 2024 teaching inmates at the prison out by the airport, and we began with basically a pathway introduction, and then we once they finished that, the prisoners were eligible to begin studying in certificates that we're offering, either in project management or small business management and entrepreneurship. And so yesterday was our first official commencement with them, where we awarded certificates that these 54 inmates had earned.
Megan.
47 men and 7 women.
Megan Rice is the director of the prison education program, and she tells Inside Sources that being an online program both helps and creates some unique challenges for the prison population.
One of the most exciting parts about our program is that we're trying to find a spot for as many people as want to participate, because we're an online program. It's also one of our biggest hurdles is trying to deliver online programming in a corrections facility. So the students are able to participate, are able to apply, and it's open to anyone, even though we're sponsored by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, it's open to anyone who's residing out there. Like any church education student, they receive an ecclesiastical endorsement, and they also receive a scholarship. As part of that scholarship, they are required to attend worship service and an institute class with 80% regularity. What's really great about those requirements as well is that gives them extra productive time. So they get awarded productive time for being in an education program, but then they also get extra hours a week for participating in those 2 events. So any student that wants to be part of our program applies, and those are the expectations of maintaining eligibility.
She says that this program has been years in the making.
One of our strategic initiatives is to serve those who are underserved on the Wasatch Front. That's one of our strategic priorities as a campus, and they're right in our backyard. President Cush had a vision many years ago with President Don Clark, who is the ecclesiastical leader over the Utah Department of Corrections, to bring in a program to serve these inmates. And there are already really great education programs out there. We hope to be a value add and operate a little bit differently than they do, but also connect students to a higher power, which is a really powerful data-driven recidivism reduce.
President Cush says that there was a special announcement for the inmates who took part in the commencement ceremony. They will have the opportunity to continue their education even more.
One of the things that we were thrilled to announce to them yesterday is that they were thinking that earning a certificate from Ensign College was the end. And it was fun to announce that beginning in the fall, they'll be able to start earning, working towards associate degrees and eventually a bachelor's degree. And so our new 3-year degree works out perfectly for them, the accelerated degree. And so we're just really excited, and I think those that were there were very excited to hear the news.
The ceremony yesterday marked the first time in its 140-year history that Ensign College hosted the commencement exercises outside of a school property.
Traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 9s, brought to you by UCCU. Build smart, save big with construction loans at UCCU. We do have a crash in Davis County, southbound Redwood Road at Center Street in North Salt Lake. It had been blocking traffic. And we do have wet roads across much of the valley with some light rain and snow falling at this time. It is causing slower speeds northbound I-15 from South Salt Lake to the North Interchange. When you need the financial products and services for every stage of life, Cypress Credit Union is there for whatever the future holds. Visit cypresscu.com today. Ricky Meeson, the KSL Traffic Center.
For over 22 years, speaking on business on KSL News Radio has been a beloved tradition, celebrating our heroic business leaders and Utah consumers who have helped build one of the strongest state economies in the nation. Now, under the stewardship of the Salt Lake Chamber and hosted by Chamber President and CEO Derek Miller, the program continues to shine a spotlight on those who make Utah's business environment dynamic and thriving. With his expertise and passion, Derek brings the stories of our business community to life. As part of the Salt Lake Chamber, Speaking on Business is proud to continue its legacy of highlighting inspiring stories, trends, and special guests. Support Utah businesses now and be part of Utah's thriving economy. More information can be found at slchamber.com. That's slchamber.com.
Looking for something fun to win this week? Head to ksl.com/win and enter now. We're giving you the chance to score tickets to the Disney Worlds Collide concert tour or cheer on Real Salt Lake with tickets to a variety of games this season. It's quick, easy, and free to enter. So don't miss out. Visit ksl.com/win today. ksl.com/win and see what you could be winning this week. Good luck.
This is Nate Orchard from Advanced Window Products. When you live in Utah, your windows do a lot more than let the light in. They protect your home from freezing winters, blazing summers, and everything in between. That's why Advanced Window Products builds every window for your local climate. No middleman, no out-of-state delays, just factory direct quality, custom made for your home. Imagine a quieter home, a warmer home, a cooler home. Our high-efficiency vinyl windows are engineered to lower your energy bills and boost your comfort all year round. And installation is done by our own certified in-house crews, never subcontractors. That's why Utah homeowners give us 5-star reviews. Right now, take advantage of our anniversary sale. For a limited time, get $2,500 off when you buy 10 or more windows. Call 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100. For 40 years, Advanced Window Products has been the name Utah trusts for custom replacement windows and sliding glass doors. Advanced Window Products, built here, installed here, trusted here. Call 801-850-9100 for that $2,500 off or visit us at advancedwindows.com to schedule your free in-home estimate.
Taxes could be your biggest expense in retirement. More than housing, more than healthcare, or anything else. And many retirees will overpay their taxes by tens of thousands of dollars every single year. Learn how you could significantly reduce your taxes in retirement at a free event with retirement tax expert Becky Swansburg on Thursday, April 23rd at 6:30 p.m. in downtown Salt Lake. It's hosted by Boss Retirement Solutions. Becky worked in the White House and on Capitol Hill on tax policy, and she has the inside track on the proven strategies that could lead to a windfall of savings in retirement. This event is free, but seating is limited. So reserve your free ticket now by calling this number, 801-850-6988. That number one more time, 801-850-6988.
For informational purposes only, not tax, legal, or investment advice. Speaker is not a client and does not endorse BOSS. Speaker compensation creates a conflict of interest.
Progressive knows you think the grass is always greener. Like maybe you ride a motorcycle. But today, it's raining. So you wish you had an RV, but if you did, you'd have to listen to some guy parked next to it at a campsite plays acoustic guitar. Now, before you start wishing you had a boat, remember, your brother-in-law would invite himself every weekend.
Permission to come aboard, Captain?
But one thing that is greener is the money you could save when you bundle your RV, boat, or motorcycle with your home or auto with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and third-party insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime.
Our entry-level data plans start at just $20 a month. And for a limited time, switch and get your second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you and get your second month free today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional details.
Thanks for tuning into Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. All aboard. The famous Big Boy steam engine is about to roll into Ogden for a multi-day stopover. The engine usually tours around the western U.S. nearly every summer, but in honor of the country's 250th birthday, Union Pacific is sending the engine from coast to coast. It chugged through Utah earlier this month on its way to California, but that was just a quick stop. This weekend, it'll be in Ogden for a few days to give train fans young and old the opportunity to get up close and personal with the massive historic steam engine. Joining me to talk more about the event is Ed Dickens, the chief locomotive engineer on Big Boy. So first off, Ed, for those who might not be familiar, what is Big Boy and what's its historical significance?
All right. Well, Big Boy is the world's largest steam locomotive. Union Pacific designed these in the 1930s to solve a problem we had right there in the Wasatch Front, the Wasatch Range. The railroad of the 1930s was at a sticking point. They just had too much traffic, so they needed a big, giant locomotive, and they developed the Big Boy. 7,000 horsepower, 600-ton steam locomotive, state-of-the-art 1940s technology that they were designed to surmount the Wasatch Front between Ogden and Green River.
So what was that trip like? I mean, how many hours did it take? Describe what it was like.
Well, railroading, just like today, it takes a while to move tonnage. You talk about the average train, what they're carrying, even the modern trains today, enormously heavy. The trains of the 1940s, the cars were a little bit smaller, but still tonnage is tonnage and the laws of physics apply. And that trip would take multiple hours, and it typically like a 4-hour trip, grinding, grueling, working its way up there. The steam locomotive logistics required fueling the locomotive and watering it. And then watering it again. It did not have enough water on board to make it all the way up that big grade. For those driving up I-80, you can see the Union Pacific line there. There's 2 tracks. One of them is westbound, one of them is eastbound. And that grade for a railroad is pretty grueling. As we sit in our cars, we don't really think about it because the automobile technology, it just zips right up I-80. But for a train, that's a really long, tough pull. And the Big Boys handle it really well.
So describe the importance of the Big Boy. I mean, what was it carrying and what did it enable people to do?
Well, the Big Boy, they hauled everything you can imagine. Everything in our lives today, just like back in the 1940s, everything, all the critical infrastructure, building materials, finished materials, bulk commodities, fuel oil, crude oil, coal, all the building materials, just everything that you can imagine, automobile parts. I mean, it all travels by rail, the most efficient way to move stuff. And the Big Boys, they were important because they solved that problem of congestion. Just like today, we're looking for locomotives that are strong, efficient, can stay on the road, work long hours. That's what the Big Boy did.
Okay, how many Big Boys are there left?
Well, there was 25, and out of that, there's only 8 remaining. And this locomotive, we picked it out of a museum in Pomona, California, back in 2013, restored it to operation in 2.5 years. And so this is the only operating Big Boy in the world today.
So how unusual then is it for people to get a look at the big boy?
Well, that's the fun part of our job. You know, the big boy, it has just captured the imagination of people. The rail fan community, we know they love it. You know, they're into railroads, they're into trains, steam locomotives. But what's really special about the big boy is just its immense size. When you watch it coming, if you have an opportunity to see it from a distance, it's this big black line compared to the other objects of the train, the other cars. You can see each individual car. Well, on the front of it, this giant, big black locomotive, steam, big, beautiful clouds willowing out of it, and the sound, you can actually hear it when it's working up grade. You can hear that mechanism, the chuffing, the traditional steam locomotive sound. A big boy is a little bit unique because it's two steam locomotives together. So it makes this in again, out again, syncopated rhythmic sound that I think that really connects with people. And the closer it gets, you can hear that whistle, that mournful, classic sound that's very uncommon in our world today. We're used to horns. We're used to all the machinery noises that we hear in our modern world. The steam locomotive is completely different, and it will stop and turn heads.
All right. Tell us about the tour.
Well, this tour, it's a very special tour for us. We started this tour back on April 10th in Sacramento in our Mile Zero location of the Central Pacific Railroad, the very beginning of the western progress of the Transcontinental Railroad that ultimately finished in Ogden, Utah. We're working our way all the way across, eventually going to find ourselves in Philadelphia on July 4th. How cool is that?
That is pretty cool. Right in time for the big celebration. You can catch Big Boy at Ogden's Union Station this Saturday from 10 to 5 and on Sunday from 11 to 3. After that, it'll head to Cheyenne, Wyoming next week for a little break before doing its tour from Nebraska to Pennsylvania next month.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
2 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Claire Scott. KSL's top story this hour. It's developing news. Police say that no one was hurt, but they're looking for the suspect after a road rage shooting in Sandy this afternoon. Officials tell us that they have several leads already in the search for the suspect. We will continue to keep you updated throughout this afternoon. Corey Richard's defense has asked to postpone her sentencing by a month. In their motion, the defense requests additional time to research, prepare evidence, and gather witnesses. The motion also noted that Richard's attorney recently had a death in the family, making prep difficult. Richards could face 25 years to life in prison after being found guilty of poisoning her husband. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. 75 days after Nancy Guthrie went missing, the FBI is now analyzing DNA in the case. Here's ABC's Alex Stone.
A private forensics lab in Florida that works with the Pima County, Arizona Sheriff's Office sent DNA samples from the Nancy Guthrie case to the FBI for analysis in recent days. According to sources familiar with the investigation, the FBI is now using new technology to conduct advanced analysis on the DNA samples to see if they can lead to Guthrie's kidnapper. The sheriff has indicated it could take many more months to untangle DNA samples, separate the strands, and isolate a potential kidnapper. Alex Stone, ABC News.
And coming up, snow continues this afternoon. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 2:02.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
Any Hour Services free furnace sale is going on right now. If you haven't scheduled your free estimate yet, do it now. Call Any Hour Services today or schedule online at anyhourservices.com.
I'm Congressman Mike Kennedy. For years, Utah families have paid too much for health care, groceries, and everyday essentials. I'm fighting for healthcare reform that puts patients first and lowers costs. I'm also working to cut waste, fraud, and abuse in Washington because your tax dollars should be spent wisely. Fiscal responsibility means lower costs and a government that works for you. I'm Mike Kennedy, and I'll keep fighting for Utah families. paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
Kitchen and bath transformations start with AMC Building Materials. AMC Building Materials is a large kitchen cabinet and countertop supplier serving both wholesale and retail customers. AMC offers factory direct pricing on all interior remodeling materials, giving you exceptional value without sacrificing quality. Most standard items are available for quick payment and pickup right away. AMC Building Materials provides professional service, free design, and free on-site measurements, along with expert installation by top AMC professionals. From bold kitchen designs to beautiful functional bathrooms, AMC delivers outstanding value with styles you'll love. And best of all, most projects can be completed within just 10 days. Come experience beauty you can see, quality you can feel, and service you can trust. Get directions to the new AMC Building Materials showroom at 3678 South 700 West today and schedule your free estimate. Visit amckitchenslc.org. That's amckitchenslc.org.
Traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 9s, brought to you by UCCU. Build smart, save big. UCCU, love where you bank. Here's Ricky Meese.
Old Man Winter is back, and he's packing a punch in some areas. We have snowfall that's heavy at times, creating wet road surfaces and reduced visibility, especially along the 21st South Freeway, anywhere between about 5600 west over to I-80. So if you're traveling through Magna, we are seeing some westbound delays starting right about Mountain View Corridor. Slowing southbound to I-15 in Salt Lake County, Murray and Midvale, and northbound I-15. Reduced speeds and dealing with weather as you're going northbound between 33rd South up to Bountiful. No matter the weather, your feet can feel fantastic. Find the Good Feet location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
It's coming down in the Salt Lake Valley right now. We can expect snowstorms to continue through the afternoon with lake effect snow possible later tonight and tomorrow. Lows get below 30 degrees overnight. Right now it is 34 and snowing. I'm Claire Scott from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Thanks for tuning into Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. We continue to track developing news today of a temporary ceasefire agreement between Israel and Lebanon. President Trump announced the agreement on social media late this morning, saying the 10-day ceasefire would begin at 5 o'clock Eastern Time. That's 3-hour time. The developments come after Iran insisted that strikes on Lebanon must stop as part of any longer-term deal for peace with the U.S. and Israel. Joining me now for more on this news and what it could mean as the U.S. works towards long-term peace in the Middle East is Amos Giora, a law professor at the University of Utah who is actually in Israel right now. And Amos, first of all, what do we know about this ceasefire agreement between Israel and Lebanon?
I think, first of all, thank you for having me. I think safe to assume it's been, I think the right word is imposed on the party of President Trump. I think the most accurate response with any ceasefire is twofold. One is wait and see if it actually will go into effect. How will violations, which are generally inevitable, how will they be responded to, if at all? And then what does this lead to, on day 11? But it's also important to go back a couple of weeks when the American-Iranian ceasefire was announced. It was unclear, I don't know if deliberately or not deliberately or fell between the cracks, whether the initial ceasefire included Israel and Lebanon. Prime Minister Netanyahu made it very clear quickly that the answer is no, it does not impose limits on Israel, and then President Trump, in essence, backed Netanyahu. There's also no doubt that the Lebanese government, if we go back historically in the 1970s when the PLO, Palestinian Liberation Organization, in essence took over southern Lebanon, and then in the first Lebanese war, the PLO was pushed out by Israel, and then came Hezbollah, supported by supported by Iran. So the Lebanese-Israeli peace treaty or peace agreement or ceasefire, whatever term we want, is fine. But we also need to be fully aware of the fact that the Lebanese military for the past decades has been utterly underlined. Incapable of protecting Lebanon from whether the PLO or from Hezbollah. So Lebanon and Israel, the government of Lebanon and Israel, obviously have a common enemy, which is Hezbollah. I have no doubt that the typical Lebanese would be only to have Hezbollah go away. But the question really is, how will this ceasefire be enforced? And again, as someone who's been involved in these things in the past, the question, there will be violations. They're inevitable. How will they be responded to? Or will we just say, it happened and move on? But then the larger question is, what does all this lead to? And I think it's way, way too early to engage in conjecture on that.
Yeah, we keep hearing the word ceasefire, but that doesn't apparently seem to be really holding in any way, shape, or form. First of all, describe for me what you are experiencing where you are and what your family has been experiencing in the past few weeks.
For the past 5 weeks, it depends where you live in Israel, people who live in the Tel Aviv area were getting hit regularly in the Tel Aviv region, the broad circle. In northern Israel, we're getting hit and are getting hit. There was firing even earlier today from Hezbollah. People in the south were also hit by missiles that came from the Houthis, which is the Iranian-supported terrorist organization based in Yemen. So it's been very much depends where you live. Here in Jerusalem, but generally, like in the first Gulf War, whether the Iraqis then or the Iranians today generally don't fire towards Jerusalem because of the Muslim holy sites. That said, there has been firing towards Jerusalem, and obviously, the closer you get to Tel Aviv, if you look at a map, obviously that area has been hit in the past 5 weeks regularly, and people have been in and out of shelters. Last week, don't ask me which day because I don't remember. My family that lives in the north heard 7 sirens 7 different times, calling them to shelter. Frankly, it's no way to live.
Mm-hmm. When we first heard of the original ceasefire agreement, we heard that it had been violated because of Israel's attacks on Lebanon, for lack of a better word. Please explain for us the broader conflict in the Middle East right now and why Iran believed that if Lebanon was being fired against, that was impacting the ceasefire agreement they had with the U.S.
So on that note, history will judge who's right. Netanyahu said from the very beginning that the Iranian-American ceasefire agreement did not apply to Lebanon, Israel. Full stop. It took Trump a couple of hours to acknowledge that Netanyahu is right, that the Iranian-American ceasefire did not extend to Israel, Lebanon, which is why the firing continued between Israel and Hezbollah. With respect to the terrorist organizations, Hezbollah in southern Lebanon, Hamas in Gaza, the Houthis in Yemen, there's no doubt that the egregious, underlined and polite, egregious harm that the Iranian regime has caused to the Middle East writ large is extraordinary. And it's probably one of the reasons that the Gulf states, whether it's the Emirates, Kuwait, Abu Dhabi, Dubai, have been, frankly, supportive of the American attacks on Iran, because Iran has made their lives in the colloquial as miserable as can be, including attacking them. They have been largely silent on the Israeli attacks on Hezbollah because these regimes have absolute antipathy towards the present Iranian regime. We could have a long conversation, which is we're probably not going to have now, about this whole notion of regime change, because who knows if there will be regime change. But I have no doubt that the Gulf states would be only too delighted to see the Ayatollah-led regime of Iran join the dustbin of history, because it has harmed them also, which is why you don't really see them criticizing Israel.
So when you say it's too early to see if this ceasefire will hold, that's because you've just been through this so many times?
Well, ceasefires can be announced, and then there's always going to be who fires the last bullet, and how do we react when the last bullet is fired a minute after the ceasefire went into effect. There's always going to be an element of gamesmanship, back and forth thing, which is, I hope, if there will be violations, we'll see. If there will be, the hope is that they will not be responded to. But on that one, I think, what is it? It's here 8:30 at night. It's way too early. In the Middle East, the difference between 8:30 p.m. to midnight is about 5 lifetimes away. So we're going to have to be observant of that to see how any violation would be responded to.
And that is Amos Giora, U of U law professor who is currently in Israel.
Every day here in Utah, people turn to KSL News Radio for one simple reason: trust. Trust for our reporters, hosts, our coverage, and trust in the businesses heard right here. I've met so many of our listeners over the years, and they'll tell you KSL is part of their daily routine, in the car, at work, at home. And when they hear your business here, it carries the weight of that trust. It isn't just another ad. It's a recommendation coming from a reliable source. When you advertise on KSL News Radio, you reach a loyal, highly engaged audience who listens intentionally. They show up for breaking news, accurate information, and meaningful conversations. And because of that connection, they respond. And when you pair our on-air credibility with digital tools like display advertising, social media, streaming audio, search, geo-targeting, and retargeting, you get a full funnel strategy that works and reaches the right people at the right time. Get marketing that truly moves the needle. Partner with the voice Utah trusts. KSL. Learn more at kslnewsradio.com/advertise.
Take a trip to the grocery store these days and you already know food prices are on the rise. What you may not know is how long that trend will continue. Robert Hogard is the director of the plant industry for the Utah Department of Agriculture and Food, and he tells KSL's Britt Johnson prices will keep creeping up through the next few months, in part because of the war in Iran.
Just because of, even more related to diesel, right, to ship and for farmers to work the ground and to do those things is going to add to that cost.
He points out you can actually see how war affects food prices just by looking at history.
In 2022, when Russia invaded Ukraine, our prices went way up there again, and just as high or even a little higher. Not that we're comparing those two, but we've had these kind of shocks to the system before.
It's not just diesel costs, though. It's also the increased cost of certain types of fertilizers that will force the farmers to pass along their costs.
Because about 30% of all fertilizer goes through the Straits of Hormuz. Phosphate fertilizers, nitrogen fertilizers, as well as then all the components that go to make that around the world, LNG, those kind of things, right? That's all necessary for making nitrogen fertilizers. And so I think the long-term effects could be higher, where when the conflict in Russia and Ukraine happened, that was kind of a short-term. People were worried about LNG supplies and things, but it shortened. Where here they're actually, we're seeing damage to infrastructure and things, so it could take months, years, whatever, to rebuild those. And so we could see those inflationary pressures continue for a little longer than they did in 2022.
Hogard thinks the increases will be more spread out rather than hitting us all at once.
I would be surprised if we see a great increase right now. I think some of these things have got to work through the system before that big cost would come.
Hogard does not expect that we'll see any food shortages and cautions against stockpiling.
We don't need to go out and just hoard food and have our, if you have some food storage, so much good for us, right? Good for those who are prepared that way. But there's not a reason for the public to go out and to do that. I'm not going to for myself, right? I'm not going to go out and do that. Just going to be as prepared as I can in my own budget to weather the inflationary costs that are going to come.
He suggests a better approach would be to plan ahead and budget carefully and just know that there's no reason to panic.
Our shelves are still going to have food on it. There's going to be plenty of food in the United States.
Robert Hogard is the director of plant industry for the Utah Department of Agriculture and Food.
War in Iran.
The conflict in the Middle East continues to wreak havoc on oil prices around the world, but Europe could soon see something even worse in the coming weeks, not just higher prices, but actual oil shortages. Those shortages also including jet fuel. In an exclusive interview with the AP News, the head of the International Energy Agency, Faith Beryl, painted a sobering picture of the ongoing energy crisis.
We are in Europe, we have maybe 6 weeks or so jet fuel left. If we are not able to open the Strait of Hormuz, if the refineries as a result will start to work, I can tell you soon we will hear the news that some of the flights from city A to city B might be cancelled as a result of lack of jet fuel. So two big problems. First, the high prices, and second, availability of the gas, availability of the jet fuel, diesel, and others.
Let's go more in-depth on what a jet fuel shortage in Europe could mean for travelers planning their summer vacations, both those heading overseas and those staying stateside. Joining me live on Midday is Senior Petroleum Analyst at Gas Buddy, Patrick DeHaan. And Patrick, first of all, were you surprised to hear that they were going to run out of the oil so quickly?
Well, this is something that's been brewing in the background for quite some time now. Jet fuel is the smallest product when you compare it to the big three like gasoline, diesel, and jet fuel. Out of a barrel of oil, which is 42 gallons, only roughly about 4 gallons of that is jet fuel. And so that is why you're seeing jet fuel impacted. Diesel prices are also jumped significantly, and gasoline has actually seen the smallest of those three, and that's because gasoline production is much higher. So jet fuel production around the world, especially in Europe, a lot of refineries that produce jet fuel have been impacted by the Strait of Hormuz and a loss of the flow of oil through the strait, and that has led to the shutdown or reduction in a lot of the production that would feed Europe's supply of jet fuel.
Could you explain the difference between jet fuel and regular gasoline?
Well, jet fuel is more like a kerosene. It's closer to the middle of the barrel, along with diesel, which is also kind of a middle of the barrel product. Gasoline is a lighter product that is kind of towards the top of the distillation tower at a refinery. So it's a lighter product, and a lot of the crude oil that goes into refineries will impact how much of each product you can get out. There's only certain properties, physics, that will dictate what of each product you can get out. And jet fuel is one of those that jet fuel consumption is lower than that of gasoline and diesel. So that is how refineries have generally been set up over time, is to maximize gasoline production, then diesel, then jet fuel. But unfortunately, in a situation like this, when jet fuel is the smallest portion of what's coming out of a refinery, it's impacted probably the quickest and to the most severe degree.
Yeah, then does Europe not have refineries needed to process jet fuel?
Well, you know, we've very much seen a lot of refineries in Europe shutting down because of some of the environmental stances. We've seen a lack of or a push towards renewables. And in that kind of situation, many refineries have found it uneconomical to continue. Very much the problem that California has faced. 2 refineries in California have shut down because of a very strong environmental push, and California dictating more and more of these refineries and how they operate their businesses. And while that may lead to improved environmental outcomes, now Europe is feeling the pinch of the push to go to renewables, with many of its refineries having shut down in the last 5 to 10 years because of this very strong push. And that's something that could impact the West Coast here. California's loss of 2 major refineries could also put the West Coast at risk, probably not nearly as close to 6 weeks as what we could see in Europe. But airports like LAX and San Francisco are now relying more on jet fuel from outside the country because of the same thing that's plaguing Europe. A loss of refineries has been critical.
So how do you see American travelers being affected by this summer?
Well, this is going to be somewhat of a nightmare. Americans traveling abroad are going to have to think about, you know, what does the fuel outlook look like? Now more than ever, when you buy those airline tickets, you may want to look at travel policies or insurance policies that may help protect you if there are discrepancies. And not all policies may cover these types of instances because they're generally uncontrollable. But it could lead to some Americans in some areas of places like Europe and Asia at somewhat of a risk. Now, I don't think it's a great risk, but you'll see many of these countries that are probably going to prioritize long-haul flights to the U.S. because many tourists are going to be traveling to Europe. So it's maybe not those flights, but if you're flying between destinations in Europe, that may be more risky as Europe may start to have to cut some of their smaller domestic flights. So it just adds another element of uncertainty to Americans traveling abroad. And like I said, for those doing so, it may be well worth it to look at insurance policies to protect you and to get you back if that does happen.
All right, Patrick, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Patrick DeHaan is Senior Petroleum Analyst at Gas Buddy. After the break, Utah's Attorney General is speaking out following yesterday's major jury verdict, which found Live Nation and Ticketmaster guilty of anti-competitive practices. We'll get insights into what that verdict means for consumers coming up next. But first, it's traffic on KSL News Radio. It's brought to you by UCCU. Earn 4.24% on savings at uccu.com. Ricky?
We do have delays on I-15, especially on the northbound side between 33rd South into Centerville. In fact, right now I'm looking at a shot of I-15 at about 10th North after 6 North, and traffic has been at a standstill. So the weather is definitely causing for a wet road surface. We also have a crash reported westbound I-80 at the 201 junction. Keep an eye out for crews arriving there. A lot of snowfall to the west, anywhere from West Valley into Tooele County. Did the heavy rain cause a leak in your home? S&S Roofing offers protection with high-quality roofing, expert repairs, and durable materials. Visit snsroofingutah.com for your free quote today. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
I'm here with Monty from Connecticut Quality Water Systems of Salt Lake, an authorized independent dealer. So, Monty, I wonder if you know someone like this. He's the ultimate DIY guy. Restores classic cars, builds his own deck, and even smokes his own brisket.
Sounds like a talented guy.
He is, but get this, his other weekend hobby is troubleshooting his water softener. He's always down there resetting the timer or fiddling with the circuit board.
See, Doug, that's where I draw the line. Smoking a brisket is a great weekend project.
Yeah.
Fixing an electric water softener is just a chore.
Exactly. He thinks he's saved money by buying the bargain brand, but he's paying for it with his Saturdays.
That's the Connecticut difference. Our systems are premium because they are non-electric and fully automated. No computers to fry, no timers to reset. We install it and you get back to the hobbies you actually enjoy.
If you want soft water, do what I did and leave that to Connecticut. It runs on water power, not willpower. Learn more at softwaterutah.com. That's softwaterutah.com.
Are you looking for a fun way to get your kids outside and off their screens this spring? Try flower gardening. Starting a beautiful flower bed or easy container garden is a great hands-on way to spend quality time together while teaching kids about nature. They'll love digging in the dirt, picking out their favorite flowers, and watching them bloom, all while making real, lasting memories. Plus, gardening is a great way to slow down, soak up some sunshine, and enjoy the fresh air as a family. This is Brian with Olson's Greenhouse, and my family has been growing flowers with care for 4 generations right here in Utah. Whether you have a big sunny backyard or just a small shady front porch, our colorful, locally grown flowers make it easy to add beauty to your home. So this spring, start with a new family tradition, one that grows with your kids. Get inspiration at Olson's Greenhouse Gardens on Instagram or find a garden center near you at ogg.com. That's ogg.com for Olson's Greenhouse Gardens.
Celebrate National Serger Month with super deals on all sewing machines and sergers at Dave's Bernina in St. George and Provo.
0% interest for 24 months on purchases over $1,000.
Purchase a new Bernina L890, L860, or L850 model
and receive special pricing plus an option for a free or discounted Bernina Serger Studio. The world-famous Bernina 990 is on sale and includes thousands of dollars worth of free add-ons. Take advantage of 20% off Bernina Serger accessories.
Amazing bargains on previously owned machines while they last that come with warranties.
Dave's Bernina has made a special purchase of previously owned Bernina 330s for only $499 and a limited supply of event machines, new out-of-the-box Bernina 770 and 790 Pro machines with full warranty.
Dave's Bernina, 691 East St. George Boulevard and 2017 North 550 West in Provo. Dave'sBernina.com.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel neglected or unloved? If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
You are listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Utah's Attorney General says his office will fight to make sure that there is lasting change in the entertainment industry after a jury found Live Nation guilty of overcharging fans who bought tickets to thousands of concerts and other events over the years. Jurors in Manhattan Federal Court found Wednesday that Live Nation and Ticketmaster monopolized the market for tickets and protected its position through pressure and leverage. In their lawsuit, nearly 3 dozen states, including Utah, claimed that Ticketmaster dominated major concert venues and kept the prices high through anti-competitive practices. Attorney General Derek Brown joined Inside Sources to explain.
First part of this lawsuit is the jury coming back yesterday and agreeing with what we've been saying all along, and that is Live Nation and Ticketmaster has been acting like a monopoly. And we said this, we brought this lawsuit specifically on that issue. They argued that they're not. Yesterday, the jury agreed with us on every point. And so this is a win for consumers all across the country. I mean, last year, Utah spent something like $400 million on live entertainment. And so this is a huge victory on that. And to your question of what's, where this goes from here, we now enter a phase of the trial called the remedies phase, where we'll find out what are the damages, how much are they going to pay, and what other things will the judge award. But ultimately, this is really the antitrust trial of the decade. I mean, people will be talking about this for decades to come because we frankly have been talking about Live Nation for decades.
Attorney General Brown says it wasn't just overcharging concert goers for tickets, but that consumers are being harmed by Live Nation's whole business model.
The ticketing market is controlled, and think about this, roughly 86% of that entire market is controlled by one company, Ticketmaster. And then something else people don't realize, but Live Nation now, as a company, they control venues all across the country. They control the concert promotion. They control the artist management, and now they control the ticketing. So every single aspect of that industry is effectively controlled by one company. And so our argument all along has been they're using that monopoly power to force consumers to pay far more for tickets than they should have to pay. And so that's why yesterday feels like a vindication. And I was a little giddy because we spent a lot of time, and I mean, nobody will know the amount of time my team and myself have spent working with other state AGs to keep this case moving forward and make sure that we got the victory.
The judge in the case will now determine damages and remedies, which could involve divestments or even a breakup of the company. There are also many outstanding questions still, since some states and federal governments settled their part of the lawsuit with Live Nation several weeks ago. It's 2:30 midday at KSL News Radio. I'm Maria Shilaos. Some of the stories we are watching this hour. Thousands of Utahns jumped under their desks and tables today for the Great Utah Shakeout. We'll talk about easy ways you can make sure you and your family are prepared for the inevitable big one to strike someday. The crew of Artemis II speaking about their experience for the first time back on Earth. And KSL traffic, Ricky.
The snow causing slowdowns in Davis and Salt Lake counties. Maria?
And the snow not done with us yet. Expected to continue through this evening, and then some freezing temperatures tonight. It's 2:30.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. The leaders of Israel and Lebanon agreeing to a 10-day ceasefire set to start in less than 2 hours. President Trump called it a win and says he believes the U.S. and Iran are also close to a deal for a permanent ceasefire, claiming Iran is agreeing not to have enriched uranium.
We have a statement, very powerful statement, that they will not have, beyond 20 years, that they will not have nuclear weapons. That's beyond. There's no 20-year limit.
But Iran is vowing to fight back as the U.S. military expands targeting Iranian oil tankers, not only in the Strait of Hormuz now, but globally. In Minnesota, Hennepin County's prosecutor announced felony assault charges against an ICE agent allegedly involved in a confrontation in February on a highway, claiming that the ICE agent pointed a gun at people in the car. Homeland Security has not commented. And the Artemis II crew celebrating its 10-day mission, taking reporter questions today, and say they've bonded for life after their lunar flyby. This is ABC News.
KSL's top local story. The price of school lunches in the Salt Lake City School District may soon rise by over $1. KSL News Radio's Cameron Elliott reports.
In a meeting on Tuesday, the Salt Lake City School Board discussed the idea of raising the price after the district had a $2 million deficit for school lunches last year. The price would rise by 50 cents to $1.50 depending on the grade level. The last time the board raised the price of lunches was 2012, and every year since then has been able to cover the cost with assistance from federal funds. Now, though, Salt Lake City School District Business Administrator Alan Kearsley says rising labor costs paired with the soaring cost of food is putting stress on the budget.
Students who receive free lunches will be unaffected. Other local stories KSL is following. A new report is highlighting some challenges schools in Northwest Salt Lake County are facing, like low test scores, graduation rates, and higher rates of chronic absenteeism.
The report from the Kempsey Gardner Policy Institute shows graduation rates in communities like West Valley City, Kearns, Taylorsville, Magna, and the west side of Salt Lake City are almost 10% lower than the rest of the state, and only about a third of the kids in these areas are scoring at least an 18 on their ACTs. Andrea Brandley is the Institute's senior education analyst. She tells me one thing you unique about this area is how diverse it is, which isn't a bad thing.
I think what becomes challenging is making sure that you have the supports needed to support such a diverse group of students where their needs might differ more.
Brantley says a lot of kids in this area need help learning English and are economically disadvantaged, both of which can affect learning outcomes. She says she hopes their report promotes awareness to ongoing challenges and encourages people to come together to address them. Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
There are only 2 weeks left for new students to apply to the Utah Fits All Scholarship. Utah Education Fits All Executive Director Robin Bagley says because of the $20 million extra dollars from the legislature for this year, about 20,000 students will be able to participate in the school voucher program, and nearly that many people have already applied.
We're likely going to have a wait list. I just don't know how large it will be. I know that numbers right now are tracking close to 20,000 right now. So we're getting close to that number of the number of students we think that can be served.
The state-funded scholarship offers between $4,000 and $8,000 to students who would rather attend home-based or private schools instead of public school. The deadline is May 1st for new applicants and May 31st for returning students. Taking a look at your money at this moment, at the close, the Dow was up by 115 points. It sits at 48,578. S&P 500 up by 18, and the NASDAQ up by 86 points. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by UCCU. Build smart, save big with construction loans at UCCU. What's happening, Ricky?
We've had a new accident, SR 36 going southbound. That's Main Street in Tooele County at Saddleback Boulevard near Lake Point. We also have a crash reported southbound I-15 just as you're approaching the North Interchange in North Salt Lake. And this weather is definitely slowing down speeds, especially seeing it going northbound from downtown into Centerville. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
And the storm definitely dropping our temperatures. We were at 45 at the beginning of the noon hour, now at 32 degrees. It looks like a high tomorrow of only 48 and still a 30% chance of showers tomorrow before we head back up into the 60s and 70s for the weekend. Again, 32 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Wait, everything on this IHOP value menu is just $6?
I told you it was amazing. A huge plate of pancakes, bacon, and eggs is just $6.
Wow.
There's also French toast, a ham and cheese omelet, and oh, they got a BLT and fries now.
Okay, we're coming here every day.
You don't have to tell me twice.
Feast for just $6 with the IHOP value menu. $7 in some locations, available every day for a limited time at participating restaurants in the U.S. Hours may vary. No substitutions. Not valid with other discounts or promotions. Prices may vary.
Salt Lake City, this is your final boarding call, extended by popular demand. Titanic, the exhibition, is sailing away soon. Don't miss your last chance to experience the heartbreaking and heroic stories of her passengers and crew. See the incredible artifacts before the doors close forever on April 19th at the Shops at Southtown and Sandy. Get your tickets before they're gone at thetitanicexhibition.com. That's thetitanicexhibition.com.
It's spring. You get outside and it's obvious your house needs painting. Make an appointment with CertaPro Painters. They'll give you a free estimate quickly and at the right price. And they make the entire process easy with reliable updates and communication. They know how important your home is to you. True professionals, they're committed to quality and exceptional service at the right price. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated, so schedule your free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C.
You're listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. All over the state today, thousands of Utahns took part in the Great Utah Shakeout, a massive kind of drill to help people be better prepared for the next big one. Whether at work, at school, or at home, Utahns participated in the drill largely by ducking and covering. Now, while that may be good, when the actual shaking happens, there are plenty of things you can and should do ahead of time to make sure that you're prepared. This afternoon, the American Red Cross is holding a public preparedness expo at Utah Valley University. It's open to the public and a way for Utahns to better understand how to prepare for a massive natural disaster. Executive Director of the American Red Cross Central and Southern Utah chapter, Benjamin Donner, joins me now to explain. And Benjamin, thanks for being with me.
Absolutely, Maria. Thank you.
So let's start with the broad conversation about earthquake preparedness. What can Utah families do to be ready for the next big one?
Oh, my goodness. We talk about this all the time, and today is obviously that special day where the entire community is focused on it. We really want to think through our individual situations. So each individual family, think through what would you need if for whatever reason we didn't have power for a short time, if we didn't have the food, et cetera, that's so easily accessible, shelter. So we always recommend make sure every household has that 72-hour kit that has been thought through when the ground is not shaking, right? And we have lists and guidelines on redcross.org that make that very, very easy for all individuals and families.
All right, thought through and also updated. I've been thinking I haven't looked in my kit for a while.
Oh, that's such a good point because, families change, pets change. Do we have pet food in there, et cetera? All of that. Those are things that when it's not a disaster is the exact time to think through that and plan for that.
Okay, I feel like we talk about this so much, though, that the big one eventually is going to happen. Do you think people have gotten a little bit complacent?
It's easy to. I'm really proud of our community here. I think many are really starting to think about it, like this event we have today. A lot of individuals kind of going, yeah, I am working on it. I want more ideas. So I think we're getting better, but it's very, very easy to become complacent because we don't have a lot of disasters here.
So when a major disaster does strike, what role does the Red Cross play?
Oh, thank you for asking that. So we stand ready. We have volunteers and staff that have trained and practiced, and that's one of the reasons of holding this event here today, that in the moment that we are needed, when that problem, disaster, wildfire, whatever, when that overwhelms the resources of the local community, that's when they call Red Cross. Well, they call us sooner than that, but they call us and say, please come in and help. And 24/7, our volunteers, our staff, we are ready to go where we come in, work directly with our incredible emergency managers and our emergency fire departments, police, et cetera. We help with the sheltering and feeding in the event that is needed. And even when we need to open up an evacuation center, just a temporary, if, say, there's a wildfire or something like that, Red Cross is always there in those centers as well.
So when you say you have people that will come in, how many people do you have on standby that are able to just go to an area very quickly?
Right now, here in the Wasatch Front, I would say we have 300-ish that are all volunteers and work preparing for things like this. And don't hear that number and think, oh, they've got plenty. No, we are constantly looking for individuals that want to come and join those ranks, learn those skills ahead of time, because really we have disasters across the country that many of our amazing volunteers here locally will go and support those as well, if that is part of what they are hoping to do, of course.
Okay, so what exactly is happening at your event today?
Oh, it's so awesome here. So here at Utah Valley University at the UCCU Center, we've transformed it into what a mega shelter would look like. Now, we haven't set up hundreds and hundreds of cots like we would, but those who come, and it's free to the public, you'll get to experience what that looks like in the event of a major disaster. So you'll get to see how we structure it. Where do pets go? How do they register? We have volunteers that are serving food here. It's all, once again, free to the public, I guess, while we have enough food, right? And then throughout the day, we have classes also that are free to the public, teaching compression-only CPR, teaching preparedness, all of those things every half hour, going through, helping our community walk away going, wow, After I showed up here, my family is safer, I'm safer, and then really the community is safer because of it.
I appreciate your time. Thanks for being with me today.
Always a pleasure, Maria. Thank you.
That is Benjamin Donner, the Executive Director of the American Red Cross Central and Southern Utah Chapter. Midday continues in just a few minutes.
Wesley is a truck driver.
I drive a truck, and I love what I do.
A truck driver with IRS troubles.
They told me I owed them $43,000.
It got really bad.
Quite a few letters in the mail. They were talking about wage garnishment, coming after my house, my car. Yeah, they don't play around. I seriously thought that I was going to lose everything.
One sleepless night, Wesley finally made a call to Optima Tax Relief at 2 a.m.
Kind of figured I'd get a machine, but I didn't. I actually got to talk to an actual person in the middle of the night.
He found just what he was looking for.
Oh, they were great people. You need a team of people that know what they're doing. Optima Tax, they know what they're doing.
Optima Tax Relief came through with flying colors.
I saved an incredible amount of money. Happy don't even come close. I was absolutely overjoyed.
Take Wesley's advice.
If you're in any kind of trouble with the IRS, call Optima Tax Relief. Don't trust anybody else.
Call Optima for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
We want to talk about soda, diet, and nutrition. SOTA stands for state of the art. And Andy and I both let go of massive amounts of weight. You more than me.
70 pounds in 5 months.
And I did 37 pounds in 3 months. And what worked for me was so many things. Talking to a nutritionist every week and having her tell me what to eat. I can do as I'm told.
Yeah.
But I have no clue where to begin.
And I needed the help too. It's just food. There's no pills, no injections. So you learn how to both let go of the weight and then how to keep it off.
So soda, diet, and nutrition is a great place to start. But if you started with pills or medications and you find yourself starting to gain some weight back, soda, diet, and nutrition is a great way to learn how to have a new relationship with food to go into the future.
You can talk with a nutritionist by calling 866-800-SOTA, S-O-T-A, or you can go to their website, sotadietandnutrition.com.
Join now and your partner joins for free. 2 people, real accountability for the price of 1.
Join us for a short time to have results that last a lifetime.
Here's something a little different, something you may not have thought of. Cataract surgery in space? With future missions to the stars lasting longer and longer, scientists are studying how space will affect astronauts' health. One of those studies is being done at the University of Utah, where researchers are focusing on the health of the astronauts' eyesight. University of Utah's Brand Eye Center has teamed up with the Texas-based Berkeley Eye Center to find out how intraocular lenses, that's the kind used in cataract surgery, hold up in space. Professor of ophthalmology Liliana Werner says they sent 2 kinds of lenses to the International Space Station to see how they would fare.
You need to understand the space conditions and understand what the hazards of the space conditions are going to cause to these lenses. So that's exactly what was done. So intraocular lenses made of different materials, they are commercially available. They were sent via a SpaceX mission to the International Space Station, and they remained there for almost 6 months. And there they remain in 3 different locations in the exterior part of the International Space Station. And each location had a little bit of a different exposure. So one location received a lot of what is called atomic oxygen, and that is very problematic. Another location received a lot of exposure to ultraviolet light, but it's not UV light like we have here filtered by the ozone layer. It is an unfiltered light that can cause a lot of damage. And another location was what is called the underdeck. So that's a location that is still in the exterior part, but is partially shielded. So we left the lenses there for 6 months, then being exposed, and then they were sent back to Earth. And when they arrived here, I received the lenses and I performed laboratory analysis to see what happened to them. So basically, first we have to understand what space can cause to these lenses. So then in the future, we can start establishing appropriate means to safely ship and store them in space.
Dr. Werner says the acrylic lenses become rough and the silicone lenses became discolored. She tells KSL News Radio's Isabella Sosa earlier studies also looked at how the cataract lenses fared in astronauts who had had the lenses before they went into space.
There were some astronauts who had intraocular lenses implanted in their eyes, and they went to space for some time. So a lot of clinical examination was done on them before the mission and when they came back. So everything was pretty much fine. The lenses were stable, the vision was stable, because if you think these astronauts are always in controlled environment. They are in environments that are compatible with life. So nothing happened there. Here, what we are doing is totally different. We are literally exposing the lenses directly to the exterior part of the International Space Station, like literally to the space hazards. So, of course, the possibility of damage is much, much, much greater.
As NASA prepares for longer, more daring trips to space, scientists are trying to determine if the astronauts would be able to have a cataract surgery in space. The crew of Artemis 2 is back on Earth and speaking for the first time about the entire trip. We'll hear more about their 10-day trip and what's in store for the future coming up next. But first, it's traffic on KSL News Radio. It's brought to you by UCCU. Build smart, save big. UCCU, love where you bank. Tell us about that accident, Ricky.
Well, we do have the crash in Tooele County, and this is going to be SR 36 Main Street near Saddleback Boulevard. It's in the Lake Point area, so exiting off of I-80, you'll see crews at the intersection. Now, for those who are traveling to the west side of the valley and even on I-15 anywhere from, I'm going to say, Midvale on into Davis and Weber counties, we've been dealing with snow. Breaks in the action at times, but you are on a wet road surface and delays are starting to break up. Had a listener asking about Bacchus Highway, about 8400 west, 3900 south. Those cameras, the few I have, are snow covered. I would think the weather has played a part and caused a little bit of backups there. Traffic's rough, but your parking lot doesn't have to be. GoPave Utah keeps things smooth with expert asphalt maintenance at GoPaveUtah.com. That's GoPaveUtah.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Is your financial advisor managing your risk or just a spreadsheet? Hi, I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth. Many financial advisors rely on target date funds, which are one-size-fits-all portfolios that don't know your name, your family, or your goals. And that passive management can leave you dangerously exposed. At Trajan, we look at the whole picture, not just the stocks everyone else buys, but the private market opportunities most advisors ignore. And as fiduciaries, we build a strategy around you, coordinating your investments, tax strategy, and estate into one cohesive plan. Your financial life deserves more than just a generic portfolio. Real planning isn't a stack of statements. It's the confidence of knowing where your income will come from for the next 30 years. Good enough isn't good enough for your family. It's time for a change. Schedule your complimentary consultation today.
Call Trajan today at 801-207-9900. That's 801-207-9900.
Advisory services through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. Private equity investments require accreditation. Other services through Trajan Estate and Trajan Tax. Additional disclosures at TrajanWealth.com.
The movie show is at Minky Couture in Layton this Friday from 10 to 1. Minky Couture, the original creator of cozy indulgence with unmatched softness and premium quality. Visit minkycouture.com.
Transform your old, outdated kitchen with Half Price Granite. For limited time, Half Price Granite is offering special pricing starting at $25 per square foot installed. That's lower than most big box stores. These prices are some of the lowest around. Granite, quartz, marble, and quartzite, all starting at $25 per square foot installed. Call 801-486-1700 or visit halfpricegranite.com. Half Price Granite, affordable luxury.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime.
Our entry-level data plans start at just $20 a month. And for a limited time, switch and get your second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you and get your second month free today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional details.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
Do you spend half your day walking or standing while working? If you have foot, knee, or back problems, the Good Feet store wants to help you like we helped Tony.
Pain that I experience the most is foot pain from being on my feet all day. You're having to kind of talk to yourself through the whole shift, like, I got this, I can do this. Before, I felt defeated, and now it's like, all right, let's go. I'm ready. A whole new life, like sunshine coming on.
And how about working more comfortably, like Dennis?
Working at an amusement park, it's always on your feet. I just couldn't take it, but I didn't have a choice. I just couldn't believe that putting these arch supports in made that much of a difference that quickly. I could do my job and I could take care of my family. I know what my tomorrow's gonna be. It's gonna be positive.
You deserve a better life too. Stop in the Good Feet store today. We have locations in Farmington, Riverton, and Sandy.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
This is Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. During their time in space, we heard from the Artemis II crew a few times as they journeyed to the far side of the moon. But today, we heard from the whole team for the first time back here on Earth.
I've said it so many times, but we are bonded forever. I mean, that's the closest four humans can be and not be a family. So it was just an amazing adventure. And every single person on that crew lifted each other up the entire time. So I just can't thank the three of you enough.
Thank you.
While we're giving thanks, you're welcome. While we're giving thanks, as astronauts, I feel like we're just always thanking the team. We're always thanking the team. So I think today we're just going to start by thanking the world. Let's just thank the world, and let's break that down for 1 minute, and then I'll hand it back to Courtney. But this NASA organization and their international partners, they put together this amazing vehicle, the Orion spacecraft that we named Integrity atop the Space Launch System, riding to the moon on a European service module. They provided this massive structure that was able to push four humans around the moon and bring them safely back. So thank you to every single person that had a hand in building that machine, because it was a magnificent machine. But then we would also be remiss if we didn't thank the media, if we didn't thank the content creators, and if we didn't thank the world for just tuning in for a second and getting hooked on this mission. We were certainly hooked on this mission, but when we came home, we were shocked at the global outpouring of support, of pride, of ownership of this mission. And really, I think at the beginning, that's what the four of us wanted. We wanted to go out and try to do something that would bring the world together, to unite the world. And then I'll just wrap that all up with the astronaut's creed is always to launch as friends and land as friends. And when you live together in a small group for as long as you do on the space station or even 10 days, it's a challenge. But I am here to tell the world, we launched as friends and we came back as best friends. Thank you.
The crew describing what it was like to be on the ship Integrity for the trip.
We've talked a lot about integrity, and for folks that have followed us, there's a saying that we learned from one of our National Outdoor Leadership School instructors. Integrity is not a 1 or a 0. You don't either have it or not have it. You can be in integrity and you can be out of integrity. And I will tell you, I'll be the first to admit that there were moments on this mission where I was out of integrity, because sometimes the view or the human experience would just pull me away from the work. And it happens, and it's a beautiful thing to get to witness what we got to witness. But at the end of the day, you got to do the mission too. And so there were moments where I was out of integrity. There was moments where each of us would fall out for a second. But the coolest part of that word I was reflecting on last night, like we named that spacecraft Integrity, and it just kind of coalesced this thread in the four of us. And whenever someone would slip out, it was amazing to watch the other three pull them back in. And what a glorious thing. Anybody want to add anything for Integrity? It's just such the perfect name for this crew and this spacecraft.
I'm Nick Notario with ABC 13. I want to talk to you all about the magnitude of what you all just did. So to give you some idea, ABC, on the splashdown coverage alone, 10 million people watched our network that day. Just splashdown. That's not the launch, the lunar flyby. And I got to tell you, one of those viewers was my daughter, Ellie, who turned 4 during your mission. And she was mesmerized by what you all were doing. She wasn't talking about her big Bluey birthday party. She wasn't talking about the gifts that she got. Every night I came home from JSC, she said, "Daddy, Ellie, go to space." She was infatuated. When you hear stuff like that, and the amount of people that were interested in what you've done, Has the gravity yet hit you about this mission? And, how has it changed you as well?
Great. First, I just want to thank you for sharing that. That is wonderful to hear about your daughter. That's awesome. And thank her for that, creating that story. We landed on Friday. Tomorrow will be 1 week. And I just was trying to live in a little hole for 1 week. Been off social media, not on the news. So no, I don't know. But, my kids have made it pretty clear, my neighbors, and, it's hard to live in a bubble nowadays. I'm trying very hard. But I think it's what I've come to realize is we did what we said we were going to do. Yep. And now we've got to step out and just face that reality. And so that's a great thing. But I'll figure it out tomorrow. Courtney started this by saying the crew is ready. I'm really not, but I will be next week.
Do you mind if I add something?
Yeah. Please.
It's the way you word it. I mean, I love your question, but you say what you guys did, what the four of you did, and we just don't not see it that way. We should be rewording that question to what we did. That's what this was. We just went up and did what we were going to do. All we saw was a camera. We didn't have that connection with you. We lost that connection with Earth by and large. And so we just leaned into what we had. We leaned into each other and mission control, which is really all we had in our families a couple times. But we did that because we had been lifted up and supported to just go up there and be ourselves and just do our job. And we went into it thinking, it's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be good enough.
And one of the amazing things, Tim, the astronauts were just so overwhelmed by the number of people who tuned in to watch them in space.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
we haven't been to space in so many years, and some of those missions just kind of became kind of complacent.
Yeah.
It was just what they were expected to do. So people really paid attention.
And that's a great thing because it's only the beginning of what comes next.
Yes.
With Artemis, we're going to be landing on the moon at some point.
Tim Hughes is here for Jeff Kaplan. Have a great afternoon.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
3 o'clock at KSL News Radio. Jeff Kaplan out again today. Tim Hughes filling in. And, yep, we've got snow downtown. Right now it's cold, too, on the freezing mark, 32 degrees. Our top story, an active investigation in Sandy this afternoon after a driver opened fire near a high school at lunchtime. KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera joins us live from Sandy with the latest. Eric?
Tim, this happened right around noon here near 9800 South State Street. That's just steps from Jordan High School during lunchtime. Police say 2 drivers got into some kind of road rage situation heading southbound on State before it escalated. Sandy Police Sergeant Michael Olson says that confrontation quickly turned into gunfire.
What started as a road rage that turned into a shots fired or a shooting call. One vehicle that has not remained on scene shot at another vehicle that has remained on scene. Fortunately, there are no injuries.
It's still unclear how many people were in the car that fired, but investigators are now pulling video from traffic cameras in nearby businesses. They're also interviewing the driver of that transit van that's left with shattered glass and bullet holes. Live from Sandy, Eric Cabrera, KSL News Radio.
Utah Valley University says it will not have a commencement speaker this year following controversy surrounding its original pick. Several members of Utah's delegation spoke out against author Sharon McMahon over posts she made following Charlie Kirk's death. They say she meant to tarnish his name, but she says that even though they may have disagreed, his death was a tragedy. The university now says that there will be no speaker because of concerns over her safety. Our top national story, a ceasefire between Lebanon and Israel has begun. President Trump announced today that the countries have agreed to stop strikes for 10 days, giving the U.S. time to negotiate